Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Yo, what up? This is Rocky Asuka Romero of Chaos, and you are listening to Keepin It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the ace of podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the ace of podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in Barrio the Frogs. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith and our G1 Pick'em winner, Reddit user, Why Did You Do That Bro, a.ka. Samson. On today's show, we'll be reviewing Destruction in Kobe, answering your questions, and covering all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing to the Social Suplex Podcast Network on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns over at socialsuplex.com. This episode of Keeping It Strong Style is brought to you by Powerslam TV. Powerslam TV is an independent wrestling streaming service with over 5,000 hours of wrestling from companies across the world. Use the promo code SOCIALSUPLEX to get your first month free. Also, make sure you check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/socialsuplex, and that's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style t-shirt. And like I mentioned, we have with us a Reddit user. Why Did You Do That Bro? His shoot name is Samson, so from now on we'll be referring to him as Samson because it's quite a mouthful to say, why do you do that, bro?
Samson the Strong.
All the time. So Samson, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me all the way. I mean, I'm even... compared to the other guests, I'm sitting right here next to you this time, so I'm not via satellite or whatever, you know?
Yeah, man, you're live here in the dojo.
Yeah, this is pretty great. Like, when we kind of like put this offer out, you know, for the winner to, you know, do the show with us, like, we weren't expecting for the winner to be in Florida and to be Why Did You Do That Bro, or to be Samson, and to be able to show up live and in color, and like, here we are, we're in the dojo. And I mean, what do you think of the dojo? I mean, like, all the freaking mats, all the punching bags.
All punching bags, yeah.
Yeah, this place is great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, along. Ready to train him. I guess, I don't know. I mean,
we had a training session earlier when he first got here.
Yeah, we made him do 100 Hindu squats.
Beat him with kendo sticks.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think I could win the next Young Lions Cup.
Nice. Before we get started, why don't you tell everybody how you started watching New Japan?
Okay. Well, started when Nakamura and AJ Styles left the New Japan Pro Wrestling and went to WWE, and I pop up in the newsfeed. Oh, AJ Styles, I used to watch him back in TNA a while back, and then I was like, well, what's he been doing? So I find New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I fall in love with guys like Naito and eventually Suzuki when he came back a year later, and Kenny and all of these great guys, Michael Elgin, and then eventually...
Michael Elgin, a great guy.
I mean, in the ring, at least. I mean, yeah.
Not just playing.
Yeah. So then eventually, in time for Wrestle Kingdom 12, like a lot of other people probably listening to this podcast, I started watching full time and got New Japan World, and I've been watching every show ever since, and it's been great. Amazing.
That's awesome.
we've been, we were excited that like you were the actual winner. I mean, you've been interacting with us on the message boards and on Reddit for like quite a while. And like, I was like, dang, if it wasn't going to be me who won this G1 contest.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. So who is your favorite New Japan Pro Wrestler of all time?
I'm probably going to have to say Naito. I mean,
This is going to be a rough show to review.
I like Jay White probably about the same amount now, but yeah, Naito was a lot of people got hooked on Kenny and the Elite, but I thought Naito was the most charismatic. I guess, yeah. I got hooked on Naito, and I thought he was the most charismatic, and I enjoyed his matches. Like, I just gravitated towards Naito, and then I gravitated towards guys in LIJ like Hiromu and Jay when he came back at the Tokyo Dome last year and all that. Yeah.
Nice. And what's your favorite match of all time?
I have went back and watched a lot of matches from New Japan. Some matches from 90s, 80s, but
nice.
Not like I was gonna say probably I like a lot Wild Pegasus versus Great Sasuke, but Super J.
That's awesome.
But you guys talked about that a few weeks back or whatever.
What are your thoughts on it? Is that your favorite New Japan match?
Yeah, because I feel like that style of junior wrestling from there, it felt so different from everything else. And it's not as fast-paced as it is today.
No.
But I don't know. It's just everything felt like it had a purpose and a meaning, and the spots where they were going off the top rope, they felt impactful, and they could end the match at any second. Like Pegasus won with like a side slam kind of thing off the top rope. So
yeah, it's amazing how like from that era, the junior matches were just a bit more. I don't want to say grimy because that almost makes it sound like it was like shindy, and it wasn't. But like there was more of a cutthroatness to it, like more of a hard hitting aspect. And I mean, if you're familiar with Benoit's work, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Just like how he brings that Calgary style, that like World of Sport, just like hard hitting style. And a lot of those guys from that era, and Sasuke doing the crazy bumps that he would take. Like, I love that match.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to say, one of the greatest rivalries in New Japan Pro Wrestling history, my favorite match has got to be Tanahashi versus Okada, King of Pro Wrestling 2013.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yes.
I went back and watched all of their matches like in order in like a day. So I mean, I didn't get burned out. So by the time I got to that one, they had 4 matches in 2013, and I think this was, personally, I think this is like the best one overall, because after this match, I think that's when Okada really started to surpass Tanahashi and become the actual ace of New Japan. And Tanahashi was like healing it up a lot in this match. Like, I mean, the crowd didn't exactly want to boo him, but they did in the end a little. So I just love that match a lot.
Yeah, I love early Tanahashi when he would play the heel. Like, a lot of newer fans aren't as familiar with him like stepping into that role, and like that was something he used to do regularly, especially when he first ascended to the top spot in Japan. But he'd kind of been detached from that for a while around the time of that feud, and he kind of had to go back to that. And who's it that put out those Showbuckle videos?
Yeah, man, whatever happened?
Man, those videos are awesome. I think you can still watch them. They're on
Vimeo.
Either Vimeo or Dailymotion, one or the other. But like, yeah, if you're not as familiar with the entirety of the Tanahashi Okada feud, you should watch the Showbuckle videos. Like that, yeah, I agree. I think that's the most defining feud of the last decade for New Japan, and I mean, what like put them on the map. I mean, you can point to a lot of great rivalries, but man, Okada-Tanahashi.
Okada-Tanahashi, man, that's kind of like the bread and butter right there. That's what kind of pushed New Japan to where it's at right now.
Bro, I mean, for me, just speaking personally, from all the times we've been to like New Japan shows and what we've seen live, I think the moment that's even more so than like anything else was the moment that I saw Tanahashi and Okada standing in that ring in Dallas, and the way the crowd reacted to it, like for the first 15 seconds, 20 seconds, I was like,
dude, yeah.
Oh my God.
That was a very special moment. You know, talking to like Ricky from the Ricky and Clive show here on the network, he says, man, yeah, he felt like that kind of aura coming through the screen, and like how special that moment was. And like us being there live, man, like it was just great. Just breathing.
And I was sober, so like I really got to take it in.
Yeah.
Oh man. So that's awesome, man. So
before we move on, I just wanted to ask. So you won our G1 contest. You obviously had a lot of the right answers. Where were you getting your source info? Who was feeding you these answers? That's what I want to know.
I guess I'm just lucky.
Who's your connect in Japan?
Ghetto himself, obviously. how else would I be sitting here today, No, I don't know. I feel like if you just go night by night and predict going in order of the matches, I don't think you're going to do very good at all. You have to think of the overarching stories that are going to take place. Like I thought about Moxley, and I predicted his undefeated run and then his downfall in the end, losing to Goto and Juice and Jay and Yano. But yeah, I mean, you can't think of these matches because this is one match, you have to think of it as an entire match with a story the whole way through, because each block has one main story. In the A block, it was the underdog story of Ibushi coming in injured, losing the first two, and then coming back to beating the champion and going to the final. And then in the B block, it was Jay and Naito both having bad starts and then finally meeting, and against all odds, their match was the match that would decide the B block. I didn't get everything exactly right. I mean,
you were close.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty accurate along the way. I mean, you missed obviously a couple. I mean, nobody had a perfect bracket, but obviously out of all the brackets, you had the path kind of laid out, and you had that Ibushi Jay White final coming on to the end there.
Here's the real confusing thing. You keep saying something about stories. I've been told that New Japan doesn't have stories.
Yeah, all the people on the Twitterverse, they tell us that New Japan doesn't have stories. What are these stories you're talking about, Samson?
Maybe I'm just imagining it.
Oh man,
sounds like you're Meltzer-splaining these stories to us.
Well, actually, that's good stuff, man. So before we get into
such good shit,
before we get into Kobe. There was some Young Lions Cup matches that happened on September 18th, 19th, and 20th. On September 18th, we had Ren Narita defeating Yuya Uemura, 8 minutes 37 seconds. Also on that day, we had Alex Coughlin defeating Clark Connors via submission. Then on the 19th, we had Umino defeating Tsuji. Also on the 19th, we had Fredericks defeating Michael Richards from the Fale Dojo. Then on the 20th, we had Alex Coughlin defeating Uemura via submission. And then on the last match on the 20th, we had Tsuji defeating Michael Richards via submission, which kind of brought us into Kobe, where you had Narita 5-1, Umino 5-1, and Fredericks 5-1. So those were kind of the three young lions who were kind of in play coming into the final night. So overall, have you guys felt about this year's Young Lions Cup?
Go ahead, Samson.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to prefer you.
All right. Well, I said it before we started, but I haven't caught all of these video-on-demand matches from the Road 2 shows, but the televised Road 2 shows and the main Destruction shows, I've caught the matches, and I thought they've been great, and I didn't think it was going to end up the way it did, but because of the amount of push that Shota Umino has been getting with the pairing with Moxley and all. But overall, all of these young lions shined in their own way, except for Michael Richards. So, yeah.
Young boy?
I said it before on this show, my favorite tournament, and I think part of it's just because of the novelty, the ease of viewing, and also like the implications that it brings for the future. I love the Young Lions Cup. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, New Japan tournament. I sure as hell like it a lot more than the King of Ring. But in all seriousness, this they did a really good job with this year's tournament. They treated it like it was a little bit more important than they had previously with the previous iteration back in 2017. The matches were just excellent, man. I mean, 6 to 10 minute matches, easy watching. I mean, we're not saying anything we haven't already said before. I mean, if you didn't watch this, it's an easy watch. It's incredible, and we kind of got to see the progress of a lot of different guys guys that we haven't seen a lot of, like these LA Dojo Young Lions. Got to see what they're made of in singles action. We got to kind of see the progression of Yuya Uemura, who kind of was a revelation in this tournament. And, Narita and Umino show why they're at the top of this class. And then even with some of the other guys like Tsuji, kind of it brings questions. What's going on with Tsuji? Why isn't he where he was before? And does Michael Richards even belong in this class of young lions? And what's going on in the Fale Dojo that he doesn't seem to be on the same level as all these other guys, Yeah,
and I perfectly agree with you. Also, highly enjoyed the tournament. Like both of you guys, Michael Richards, I was not impressed. I've mentioned that over the last 2 weeks. Just not that great a physique. Clearly, there's a clear skill gap between him and the New Japan Young Lions and the LA Dojo Young Lions.
I think it's his movements. A lot of it has to do with his movements and his instincts.
Right. Very kind of awkward, kind of unorthodox kind of movement throughout the ring. Footwork, just not quite on the level of the other Young Lions.
To me, even he doesn't necessarily look comfortable in there. He doesn't look like he's used to being in the ring. And I don't mean to bury the guy or anything like that. And I think that there's probably some promise there. I mean, obviously they see something in him, but watching him interact with a lot of these guys, he didn't look like a pro wrestler. Maybe that's too harsh, but that's kind of how it came off to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, I don't know how much experience he has, how long he's been at the Fale Dojo, how many matches he had. I know he was at the Southern Showdown shows on, I think it was the second night in Melbourne. So he probably doesn't have a lot of matches under his belt, and I'm sure if he kind of continues in the dojo system, get more matches, he'll get better. But in a tournament like this, when you have some elite young lions, he definitely stuck out like a sore thumb. And obviously, the LA Dojo Young Lions have all looked great. Coughlin, Connors, and Fredericks have all been great. I think out of the three, I know Carl Fredericks kind of gets all the buzz, and he's tall, good-looking, guy's going to be a superstar one day, but I really have been digging Clark Connors, just high intensity. I think I mentioned last week, he kind of reminds me of Chris Benoit, just the kind of the body size, the build, the chops, and just how intense he is in the ring. And I think he has a bright future as well. And Coughlin's been doing pretty good as well. And then also, obviously, Narita and Umino, top of the New Japan Dojo. Those guys have been killing it. And then Uemura, like you mentioned, Josh. I mean, Uemura, he obviously didn't have the best record in this tournament, but he showed a lot of fire, a lot of energy, had some really good matches, and showed a lot of promise.
For you, Samson, watching these young lions, and you've been watching for a couple years now, I mean, who stands out to you? Who's caught your eye? What are your opinions on that?
I think Yuya Uemura has, I wouldn't say he's going to be the big company favorite like someone like Clark Connors or Carl Fredericks or Shota Umino, but I feel like he has like a really bright future ahead of him. Like he has the look, he has the body type for someone that can either fit in both divisions, like maybe start off in the junior heavyweights, move up to the heavyweights like some other New Japan Pro wrestlers have. I feel like he's going to have a very bright future in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I agree with you as well, Jeremy. I think the guy that stood out to me during the first tournament, obviously Kitamura was very impressive, winning a couple years ago, and at the time Kawato, and you had a.ka. Those were kind of like the guys at the top of the class, but the guy that stood out when we watched it was Narita. Narita was having the best matches night after night during that first tournament, even though he was losing every night. And he was excellent. And Yuya Uemura reminded me a lot of him being like that plucky young upstart. And I mean, this guy's he's got all the tools. He's got all the tools. But I loved it. Do we want to give grades to these guys, or we want to jump into this destruction in Kobe?
Let's do grades at the end of. Actually, what do you think? Should we
let's talk about these young lion matches. Let's start Destruction in Kobe, and then when we get done with them, let's give grades to these guys.
Okay,
that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me. So, Destruction in Kobe opened up with Yuji Nagata, Yota Tsuji, and Yuya Uemura taking on Manabu Nakanishi, Alex Coughlin, and Michael Richards. Pretty solid, open, basic match, with your young lions and your New Japan dads kind of in there. Nakanishi, man.
Bro, Nakanishi. Oh my God. We always hear stories about like wrestlers being like, I got a bad leg, protect my leg, brother. Like, watch out for my shoulder. I'm pretty sure Nakanishi was like, Nagata, watch out for my entire body, brother. Just take care of me out there. Nothing works anymore.
Yeah. Go light on me, brother. But yeah, so we had that opening matchup there with Nagata's team getting the win. Actually, it was Tsuji who got the win for the team. He did that the big swing into the Boston Crab, and picked up the win for his team there. What do you think about that one, Samson?
I think Tsuji is maybe underperformed a little bit compared to his previous matches in this Young Lions Cup, but he needs a finisher, man, like a big power move, because Shota and Ren Narita, whether they go an excursion or not, have to be close to graduating in some way pretty soon, because they've been part of the Young Lion roster for a long time now. So Tsuji and Uemura are about to become the senior members of the Young Lion class. So
yeah, like we mentioned, Tsuji not kind of let us down this tournament. And honestly, I thought this was one of his better matches in the whole tour. And I agree. This was a multi-man match, but so yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to grow my hair out to look like Yota Tsuji's, and now I'm like second guessing that decision. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't know. But no, this match was fine. I just thought the stuff with Nakanishi was kind of funny, because it's like, man, it's like, I know we always say this stuff, but like, this is one of the first times where I really was feeling like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I was hoping he was going to do a plancha.
Me too.
Yeah, I think we all were. But this match was fine. It was a good opener, and Tsuji picks up the win, and we get a win for this Nagata team. So
yep. So then we move on to the Young Lion Cup match with Clark Connors versus Ren Narita.
Big implications.
Yeah, Clark Connors is in here 3-3. Narita was 5-1. So obviously Connors was mathematically eliminated. Narita was still alive. This was a big match for Narita. If Narita won this match, he had a chance of winning as long as Fredericks would beat Umino. And then obviously if Clark won, that would spoil Narita and ruin his chances at the Young Lions Cup. And they had a very good back and forth match here. Once again, I mentioned earlier, Connors just kind of showing his intensity, and Narita is kind of, intense as well. And so this was a great back and forth, a lot of great strike exchanges here.
It felt to me a bit like Narita never got out of first gear. Like he was starting a little bit slow, and he was trying to rev up, but Clark Connors kind of seized the opportunity. He grabbed the bull by the horns, grabbed the brass ring, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He really took it to Narita, and he had like this high level of urgency and intensity right from the get-go. And Narita did eventually hit him with one of those overhead belly-to-bellies, but he just wasn't able to get a Narita special. I thought this match was good. I liked it.
What do you think, Samson?
Yeah, it was a good match, as you said, but I was just thinking watching this, Clark Connors' tights, I mean, we saw that they were kind of navy blue, but I think that actually is a good look for him. And if he actually decided to keep that look going forward, as like one of Shibata's students, he sort of kept it simple with his look. I mean, those navy blue pants or whatever, they actually look really good on him, I thought, even though then he's not really supposed to be wearing those.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
No, I'm offended by it. I don't like that. He needs to be wearing all black, sir. You're a young lion. These LA dojo punks, they didn't shave their heads. Now they're wearing navy. They have the audacity to not be Japanese at all. What the fuck are they doing?
Oh my gosh. But yeah, this was a pretty good match. And then towards the end here, Connors gets Narita in the Boston Crab. Narita tries to fight, but then Connors just sits down, and Narita taps out in the center, bro.
NTO, Narita tap out. We were like dead set. We're like, oh, Narita's definitely getting to the ropes. And then he just pulled him back, sat back, and he started tapping immediately. We're like, oh! We freaking lost our crap, man. Yeah, Narita got knocked out. So very disappointing. One thing I wanted to know is last week when we didn't have the official lineup, it looked like this match was going on after Fredericks and Umino, and I was very confident last week. I was like, there's no way that's happening, and feels good to be right sometimes. Not all the time, sometimes, and this was one of those times. So yeah, Clark Connors spoils Ren Narita.
Yep, and so then we move on to Shota Umino versus Carl Frederick. So both
finals.
Both these guys are 5-1. So winner takes all here for the Young Lions Cup. And these guys have, obviously from the beginning of the tournament, we predicted that these two were probably going to be one of the two to win it and be the finals, and that's exactly what happened here.
This is one of my favorite matches of the whole tournament. I thought this was outstanding.
Yeah, this was a really good match. Once again, obviously both Fredericks and Umino are both so sharp in the ring, and Fredericks, man, I just like the way he moves and just some of the combos he kind of puts together. His spine buster into the crab, and just kind of way he moves around, that jumping elbow drop that he does, looks real good.
His athleticism just in the basic grappling, and he just has a way to make everything so flashy with his nip ups and everything like that. Yeah, man. I mean, he's a freaking superstar. He's got star potential written all over him. I don't like that he's so hot. It bothers me. It's too hot. Yeah. It's too hot. I don't like it. I like my wrestlers a little grungier, grimier. I like the cold stare of the shooter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And throughout this match, Fredericks had the injured shoulder throughout this whole match. He injured his shoulder during the G1 tour.
You mean a story? There was a story.
Yeah, there was a story.
Wow.
And so Fredericks had the whole tournament with the injured shoulder. So Umino, obviously being the veteran young lion, pinpointed that shoulder and worked on that shoulder a lot, and was going for arm bars and arm and shoulder submissions. I was sure that he was going to try and win the match with some kind of arm submission here, but it came down to that spinebuster combo I was talking about into the single crab, and Frederick just sinks that in, and Umino taps out, and Carl Fredericks is our Young Lions Cup winner. What do you think about this, Samson?
Yeah, I kind of thought Shota was going to win because, New Japan obviously has big plans for Shota Umino. They literally paired him with Moxley, like he was his tag partner throughout the G1. He's gotten more over in the eyes of the fans in the West, probably the same amount in the fans of the Shin Nihon, New Japan. But the Japanese fans. But yeah, I thought this match was good, and I like a lot that they differentiate the Boston Crabs in that single leg. It looks really painful when
it's like a single leg lion tamer, like the old Jericho,
when he puts the knee down on the neck, and it looks bad. I don't want to be putting that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to have a grown man put his knee on my neck and
what it is.
Pull back on me like that.
Yeah,
it's not the vibe. It's not the move. But yeah, when we were watching Shota Umino get like freaking stretched like that, I was just like, oh my God, is Shooter about to tap? And then he did, and I was like, oh. Yeah. My heart sank, bro. And then I realized, like, if Narita would have won, he'd be the freaking
Young Lion
champion. But yeah, man, the first ever Gaijin Young Lions Cup winner ever in history. This was pretty historic, and what I really loved at the end of this match is they bring out this giant trophy, which I'm a mark for giant trophies. They bring out a giant trophy, give it to Carl Fredericks. He's just like looking so cool, and he bows to like Shota Umino, and Shota Umino's just like got a bloody nose, and he's just crawling, and like he's just so angry, and he's like pounding the mat, and he's really selling like the heartbreak and desperation of this match. And when Fredericks leaves, Shota Umino, they're trying to help him out, and he's just like pushing everybody off, and he's just like really, really selling the defeat. And I'm like, it wasn't quite Okada losing in the Dome, but man, it's been a while since I've seen somebody like look that dejected and lost. It's been a while, and I thought he did a really good job, like the way he walked out, and I was like, they can build off this for years to come. Like, this is the first step of like a really good feud.
I know, we were joking, it's like, Wrestle Kingdom like 25 Umino and Fredericks for the IWGP title.
What Wrestle Kingdom are we at?
14.
They could do it in like 2 years. These guys are ready, man. These guys are ready.
Yeah. But yeah, LA Dojo, Young Lions going over.
Bro, what the freak?
Yeah, man, the LA Dojo have kind of won the feud here.
Bro, they murked the Tokyo Dojo guys. Like, yeah. Dang. So let's do grades. Let's talk about it.
All right. So grades. So let's start with the you want to start from the bottom, or you want to go from the top down?
Start off at the bottom. Now we're here.
All right, so from the bottom, Michael Richards, he has 1-6 with 2 points.
I don't want to go too harsh on him because I actually think, given the position they put him in, he did okay. I don't know. C minus. What do you guys think?
What do you think, Samson?
I do not think I should. I haven't seen the majority or some of these matches, so I don't think it would be fair to me to grade.
Give us your opinion on what you saw.
Okay, that's what I was about to say.
Oh, my bad.
I don't think I can give my opinions on the other 7, but I think I saw enough of Michael Richards that I know exactly what to say. But yeah, I mean, maybe a D. I mean, I don't think. I think they didn't have any other young lions from the New Japan dojo are even ready right now to have even made their debut. So
right.
I mean, he was like the only other guy they could have put in there.
They could have called it Jeremy.
Oh,
They could have called Ayato Yoshida.
Yeah, he's back in 2AW, which is Taka Michinoku.
2AW?
Yeah, that's
No, I know.
Taka Michinoku's old promotion. He started up a new one already, apparently. But yeah, I mean, I would like Yoshida back, but he's moved on.
Where are you at with this, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm C minus.
So I think we should split the difference. Let's go C minus on this guy.
Yeah.
C minus, Richards.
So then we have Yuya Uemura, who was also 1-6 with 2 points.
Bro, I'm like A minus.
Wow.
Maybe a B. Maybe a B plus. I don't know.
I think I'm flat B.
I'd say A.
Oh wow.
I mean,
So I think we should probably split the difference on that. Let's say B plus on this guy.
Yeah.
Or are we A minus?
Oh, I mean, both of you guys were like A, right? And I was flat B. So man,
I think B plus is fair.
Okay.
B plus is more than fair. Yuya
Yeah.
Uemura freaking rocked it in this tournament. Like, he really did. And, we've been talking about, like, obviously his career is always going to be connected, especially in this early phase, to Tsuji. With the feud they had, the fact that they debuted at the same time, the age between them. And at this point, like, prior to this tournament, if you would have asked us who was the premier guy out of those two, I'm pretty sure we would have easily said Tsuji.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way anymore.
Well, speaking of Yota Tsuji, he's next with 2 wins and 5 losses with 4 points.
C.
Yeah, C as well.
Wow. And it's not terrible, but man, from a guy that has shown so much promise, had so many great bouts, just given us a lot to be excited for, this was a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Then we have Clark Connors, 4-3 with 8 points.
B.
I'm going B plus.
Yeah, I'd probably go B plus too. I mean, he did shine a lot in this tournament.
So he's a B plus player.
I mean, he's about the same size as Daniel Bryan. I mean, that's another guy you could say he can remind you of, because I mean, Daniel Bryan and Chris Benoit got a lot of comparisons as well. So
Yeah. So then Alex Coughlin also with 4 wins and 3 losses, 8 points.
B minus?
I go flat B.
yeah, I'd say about that as well. I mean, he wasn't.
He was good.
Yeah, he was. He this was his first tour in Japan, and he performed well.
He performed well.
Really well.
So B.
B. All right. And then up to the top of the block here with a 5-2 and 10 points, Ren Narita.
I would go B plus.
Yeah, B plus.
I agree.
All right.
Narita's my dog.
Then we have Shota Shooter Umino, also at 5-2 and 10 points.
B plus? A?
I think.
Where are we?
I think A.
I think A too.
Man, Shota. Yeah, you know what? I think he really shined in a few of these matches, specifically the Narita match, the match with Fredericks, the match with Clark Connors. I mean, even the Uemura match, like, he probably does deserve the A. I mean, yeah. Do you think Umino's the top guy of this tournament?
Well, let's talk about Carl Fredericks, 6-1, 12 points, the Young Lions Cup winner. I got an A for Fredericks.
I've got an A for Fredericks too.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's just a testament to how great these guys are that all of them are, and most of them are ending up all in the A and B plus range. I mean, they're all really great, honestly.
And not only that, hats off to the guys for performing, but hats off to the booking of this tournament. There was way more to sink your teeth into this time than previous Young Lions Cup tournaments. There was overarching storylines and narratives that were here, especially the stuff with the inter-promotions between the different dojos. Is Carl Fredericks our performer of the tournament, or is it Shota Umino? That's the real question.
Yeah.
I think it might be Fredericks, man.
Yeah.
I think it's Fredericks, man, because he came out looking so strong. He won this tournament. He looks more as ready, as great as all these guys look as far as a complete package tomorrow. If you're Gato and you have to push one of these, let's say you got to move one of these guys up to a main event slot, put a new slab of paint on them, give them a gimmick, and push them. Which one of these guys are you taking?
Carl Fredericks.
It's Carl Fredericks all day. He's a blue chipper. He's Rocky Maivia, 1996 Survivor Series. It's time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little better than that, honestly.
Oh, he's way better than Rock was at that point.
You know what's funny? I'm guessing Gato was tired of all these Gaijins that he signs leaving. He's like, I'm going to create my own Gaijin stars.
Yeah, you might have a point there. I mean, look at Jay Whiteo.
Yeah.
Look at Juice Robinson.
The champ.
Yeah.
So man, what a fantastic tournament. Like very little. I mean, the stuff we're complaining about is so minuscule. I mean, we're talking about Tsuji underperforming, and he's having solid matches every single night and still performing to a high level. This was excellent.
Yeah.
Man, but to watch Shota Umino tap out, heartbreaking, bro.
Yeah.
Moxley is disappointed.
Bro, Moxley's going to beat him.
Maybe that's why he lost. He's thinking about Moxley with the MRSA and recovering. He couldn't focus.
His heart was across the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, his head wasn't in the game, man. So then we move on here on Kobe. We had Togi Makabe, Tomioka Hanma, Hanare taking on Bad Luck Fale, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens from the Bullet Club. We made a joke as this match was going on. Like, how many bumps is Makabe going to take in this match? And I counted one flat back bump that Makabe took the whole match.
When we asked Togi Makabe, we're like, how many bumps are you going to take? He said, my name is not Togi Makabe. My name is Togi not today, because I'm taking no bumps, brother.
Yeah. But, this was what it was, little multi-man match here.
I was glad Peter came out.
Yeah, we got Peter. She's an excellent manager. She does a great job. She's led the Bullet Club to great success.
Without her, the Bullet Club is nothing.
So yeah, we had a crown jewel here. Hits the big old package pile driver on Toa Hanare and gets the win.
Okay, so it's like, all right, so what do we talk about this time? Do we talk about Togi Makabe being super old? Do we talk about Hanma not being the best health and worrying about him getting hurt? Do we talk about Hanare not living up to his potential, and when are they going to put a new slab of coat on him? Or do we talk about Chase Owens being just so great, but he needs to be in better shape? Which one of those four topics that we always talk about are we going to discuss for this match? Or are we just going to, did I say it all? We're going to move on.
I mean, you said it all perfectly. I mean, we kind of drove home all those points.
Or are we going to talk about Fale not delivering time after time?
I do think Chase has slimmed up a little bit.
He has.
And post-match, he did kind of challenge the Rock and Roll Express for the Fighting Spirit Unleashed tour. Says that he's going to show that rock and roll is dead. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of comes out of that feud there. But
it's confusing because he said rock and roll is dead, but then the leader of the Bullet Club calls himself the last rock and roller. So which is it? That's what I want to know. Inquiring minds.
You have any thoughts on this one, Samson?
Yeah, I mean, you said Makabe is old, but he's one of the younger ones compared to Nakanishi and all them guys. But he's more of a part-timer now anyway, with all the stuff he does on TV.
He is no, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's more part of that Tanahashi generation of wrestlers. But I mean, he's seen better days, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you know what? When called upon, in all fairness, when it's necessary, Togi Makabe can go to the level that Togi Makabe can go to. It's just he's mastered these multi-man matches. He knows what to do. He comes out, he's going to hit his lariats, he's going to take one bump, and it's going to be an easy bump too. Bro, the bump that you counted, I don't even know if I count that. It was off of like...
It was a lariat.
It was a lariat. It was off a lariat. This man's got wrestling figured out, man.
Yeah.
He's got it figured out.
Hot tag, take one bump, get out of there.
I mean, he has actually had some good matches in recent years. I mean, his match with Yoshihashi on night A of all people, night one of the A block last year was actually pretty good. I mean, he's not, and his IC title match. Yeah, the IC title match on the anniversary show was pretty good too. I mean, he's nowhere near as bad as Nakanishi or Tenzan. I mean, he can actually do these.
He's not bad. He's not bad at all. It's just, this is what he does. Like we don't expect more, we don't expect less. Like, this is his role. He's happy with it. We're happy with it.
He's not going to overperform unless he really feels like he has to.
And he still gets placed on all the posters. He's still one of the featured stars because he brings in the fans. Because the fans that don't even watch New Japan Pro Wrestling because he's on national television and stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm. That's how we're trying to be. Trying to bring these fans in.
Yeah. So next up, all right, here, hot angle right here.
That's one of my favorite matches of the night.
So we had...
It wasn't even a match.
It's supposed to be Hiroshi Tanahashi, Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, and Rocky Romero taking on Zack Sabre Jr., Minoru Suzuki, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Doki. So we have Suzuki leading down the Suzuki-gun army into the ramp. Out of nowhere, Liger comes out with a jump zone, jumps this man in the middle of his entrance, starts whooping on this man, then the rest of Suzuki-gun comes out, and then the rest of Liger teams comes out. Huge melee brawl going on. Marty Asami's trying to stop this thing. He's getting knocked down all over the place. These guys are brawling all over the place. Suzuki pulls out a table, sets it up in the corner, gets a chair, nails Liger with a chair shot, sets a big chair shot over the head of Liger. The seat flies off. And then he looks like to get Liger. I think he's going to get him in a sleeper to set up the gotch. But then Liger hits a low blow, and Liger removes his mask. And we have Kishin Liger.
And not just Kishin Liger, but old man Kishin Liger with no hair. The scariest version of Kishin Liger I have ever seen. Bro, he looked like a monster. Like, he looked like freaking Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker. Like, this was scary as hell.
Yeah, he after he took that mask off, he shed his skin like a snake to reveal the demon underneath. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What an eloquent way of putting it. He absolutely did shed his skin. Like, that was, bro, I was popping so hard for this.
Yep.
Like, oh my God. And like, you know, earlier this year, we like went through that whole rundown on this show talking about the history of Kishin Liger. So like, for those of you that don't know, this is ultra rare. I mean, he's only ever like appeared as Kishin Liger, I believe 3, maybe 4 times, but I think it's like 3 times since 1996. So we're talking, how many years is that? 23 years, like 3 appearances, 4 appearances as Kishin Liger. And I mean, this was crazy. This was crazy. And then, bro, he tried to freaking stab Suzuki in the head.
Yeah, he pulled up this like dagger, knife, or spike.
It was a
thing.
spike.
Yeah, and then like literally was like running towards Liger, running towards Suzuki. Suzuki moves, got the knife, the spike stuck on the table.
He misted the crap out of Suzuki.
And red shoes too.
And red shoes.
Or it was Samir.
Oh yeah,
it was Mari Samir. You're right. Yeah. And then, bro, like when Suzuki rolled out of the ring, he looked shook.
Yes, I've never seen Suzuki look like this.
I can't remember the last time Suzuki looked like. I mean, he was shook, bro. Shook.
He met his match.
Yeah.
Bro, this was incredible. Yeah. And then, like, for these other guys, like Tanahashi and Tiger Mask, Rocky Romero, they all had easy nights. You know, freaking Suzuki-gun just hightailed it out of there. Then, on his way out, Liger's attacking everybody. I mean, he
even hit Tanahashi.
He hit Tanahashi. He's hitting Young Lions. Like, he's freaking belligerent, bro. Oh, and not only that, but like, I know that we always talk about like Liger's old, but he can still go. Bro, he pulled off that freaking bodysuit. He was ripped to shreds under there.
The bodysuit makes him look a little bit thicker than he actually is.
Bro, he needs to just take it off. Like,
bro, if he was in WWE, Vince would be like, damn, pal, let's get you in some tights. Look at him.
He's huge, muscular.
I mean, he looked just as good as the majority of the roster, honestly.
He did.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actually like, so I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and I was like explaining the significance of Liger, and I was like, you know, if he does like do Kishin, like I know he doesn't have hair anymore because he's old. Like, so what's that going to look like? It was terrifying. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
But in the most awesome and like powerful way. Like, this was great. I loved this. This is one of my favorite like moments in New Japan all year long.
Yeah, we had a couple questions from it too. So first from Twitter follower @BraveDirtyHawk. He says, Kishin Liger returned, but my question is, was it too soon? Versus Liger and Suzuki's one-on-one match.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to like, do you think that they're teasing this? So like this is his reemergence and it's going to come back again in a one-on-one match? Or is it something where they don't want to do that in a one-on-one match, so they had to like create an atmosphere where it's conducive so that they can like pay it off one time and not do it during the one-on-one match that they're probably going to have? That's what I feel like might be the case.
There's a lot of options. I guess it all depends when the match is happening. We don't know exactly when this match is going to happen. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors of Wrestle Kingdom, and with the way they've been kind of holding it off, it seems like they might be saving it for one of the nights at the Dome. But then again, with this Kishin Liger angle, they've kind of hit the peak again of this feud. So I kind of feel like they might have to do it at King of Pro Wrestling or maybe Power Struggle to get the kind of the blow off of this feud.
Yeah. And another thing to remember, I mean, it was in this exact building that he debuted Kishin Liger, Kobe World Hall. So
that's true.
That's the reason they done it so early. If this is a Tokyo Dome match, because this is a return to where he first was born as Kishin Liger, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be like, to me, it feels like maybe this is the one time they do it, and they wanted to do it in a place that was memorable and important to him, and Kobe World Hall. Like, you know, that match with Great Muta. Again, if you've never seen the Muta Liger match, you have to see it. It's a little overhyped, but it's still one of my favorite matches of all time. And I mean, it's incredible. You got to see it. But I'm just wondering, it's like, okay, if they do this at, say, King of Pro Wrestling or Power Struggle or something like that, then maybe Kishin comes back. But if they end up doing it at the Tokyo Dome, I don't know if that's the last image that we want in our minds of the most terrifying version of Liger before he goes out. Unless they did this match on the 4th, and then he has another final match on the 5th.
Yeah.
Then you definitely could. I think it's too early to predict, but at the same time, I mean, with the reaction that Kishin Liger got and everything like that, and the way and how shook like Suzuki was, I don't know that you don't do it again. I don't know that he doesn't bring out that great equalizer to try and even up the score and strike fear in the most terrifying man in wrestling, Minoru Suzuki. So, oh man, all I know is I love this. That's all I know is I love this.
This was great. Another question from Reddit user WRPLA101 says, will Suzuki die at the hands of Kishin Liger?
Suzuki can never die.
Well, he almost got a spike in his forehead.
Yeah.
Suzuki's too fast for him.
Next question, well, not really a question, more of a statement from Muzza, says, Kishin Liger, that is all. And then a question from...
That's the greatest contribution that Muzza has ever brought to this show. Yo... Is it weird being on the other side of things where you're not asking us a question, but we are reading off the questions of other people to you?
It's kind of surreal, to be honest. Maybe next week I'll get another chance at asking a question.
Next question from our buddy Howard Schilling from the Wrestling Squared Circle. He says, are we really going to get Kishin Liger versus Suzuki? And do you think they can string it out to get to Wrestle Kingdom? Or is it more realistic bet for King of Pro Wrestling?
Well... I don't think we're getting Kishin Liger versus Suzuki specifically, because I'm pretty sure they've never ever booked a match between Kishin Liger and anybody. It's always just been an alter ego that's made its appearance in the middle of important Liger matches and feuds. That being said, we might get the reemergence of Kishin Liger during a match with him and Suzuki. Although, if they did decide to do a specific Kishin Liger versus Suzuki match, that would be freaking insanity. And my suggestion is it needs to be a death match. Let's do Kishin Liger and Suzuki death match, King of Pro Wrestling, sound off. That's my suggestion. But realistically, I think they're probably doing this at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's kind of been the direction all year. They kind of, like we mentioned, they've been heating it up and then cooling it off. But once again, man, this angle is so hot. I'm like, Do you capitalize? And I mean, King of Pro Wrestling's already shaping up to be a huge card. Do you go ahead and put it on there, and then you build up some other matches for Liger on both those dome nights, or do you continue to kind of hold off, can do some more multi-mans and do it at the dome? What do you think, Samson?
Yeah, I mean, they've been building this since, New Japan Cup or something like that. So they've been building this for a long time, and it hasn't gotten stale. It's actually been one of the best feuds of the whole year in New Japan. And if they can bring it up to from however many months it is, half a year from when it originally began, without a singles match, with minimal multi-mans, and keep it interesting and keep fan investment high, then why can't they stretch it to the Tokyo Dome? But yeah, as Josh said a second ago, if they do the match, I think and it's Kishin Liger, I don't think that should be like the last time we ever see Liger. I mean, the Kishin and the face paint and stuff. I mean, the last shot you want of Liger is him going out in the classic 3-horned mask and the red and white and black suit. I mean, I want to see Kishin Liger again, but I don't. You want to see Liger go out as Jushin Thunder Liger,
right? All right, so now we're moving on to the next match. We got Tomohiro Ishii, Yoshihashi, Will Ospreay, and Sho and Yo taking on the Bullet Club team of Kenta, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, Taiji Ishimori, and Super J Cup winner El Phantasmo.
You mind if I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we need to talk about the travesty that is Kenta's new theme song. It's compared to the... I mean, he come back at the G1, returns to a Japanese promotion. I mean, not Noah. He doesn't return home, but he comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, comes out to face Ibushi with a banger theme. I mean, maybe it doesn't suit a heel Kenta, but that theme was amazing. And now he comes out with some weird war drum sounding generic heel theme.
Honestly, it sounds like when you're playing like your SmackDown game and you're creating your wrestler and they have like some generic themes, like heel generic theme 2, like you pick that for your heel.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, guys. You have to understand about wrestling, and I don't know if you guys get this or not, but like a heel's not supposed to be liked, and so I don't know if you guys get that or not, but like he has generic heel music because
generating heat.
He wants to generate heat off you guys, and it's working. And so you're just simple marks. You guys are getting worked right now.
I just wish they would use the Bullet Club theme more. I love the Bullet Club theme.
Yeah, I actually agree. Well, but here's the thing. I agree with you. I actually do agree, but like at the same time, if he's quote unquote the number 2 guy in Bullet Club, which he probably is, he probably needs to have his own theme to some. I don't know if they should all be coming out to it, but at least when he's having singles matches,
right? But I feel like as a group, if there's more than 3, if there's 5, if it's 5 of them, why not come out to the Bullet Club theme?
Yeah.
Unless like you have a guy who's supposed to be the number 2 guy and he's kind of struggling being the number 2 guy, and so you're trying to get over his theme.
Yeah,
that's probably why they're doing it. But yeah, I gotta agree. I don't really like the. I really like my Meltzer splaining to you guys. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and this match.
I don't like this theme.
Yeah, this match was changed from the original card. The Birds of Prey. Well, Ospreay was here, but Eagles and Ibushi were supposed to be in this matchup, but because Sho and Yo pinned Tama Tonga, Tangaloa during that multi-man last weekend, they wanted Roppongi 3K in here with GOD, so kind of telling that story. Then you got Ospreay and Phantasmo who'll be facing off at King of Pro Wrestling, so they were kind of heating that up as well. And I thought this was a fine tag match. Obviously, things really picked up when Ospreay was in there, and him and Phantasmo had some good exchanges. And of course, when Ishii was in there, the action was pretty good. Besides that, just kind of a by the numbers kind of multi-man tag. What do you guys think?
I thought this match did not make me excited for either of the championship matches. It was, 3 of them. I mean, it kind of seems like they're teasing Yoshihashi and Kenta, especially after what happened at the end of the IWGP Tag Championship match last week. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to see that match, honestly.
Oh, I do.
Oh, of course. Apart from that one Yoshihashi fan that exists.
To see Kenta bludgeon Yoshihashi? I'm all for that. Sign me up.
Put his knee through that dome.
I mean, the Never Championship hasn't had a successful defense in a long time, so if Kenta does defend against Yoshihashi, you really want to take that chance he walks away with a belt?
Yoshihashi's not going to beat Kenta.
Yeah.
Yoshihashi's a geek.
Yep.
Oh, man. But yeah, so we had the Chaos team getting the win here with Yo getting the cradle on Tangaloa. So That's 2 multi-mans in a row that Roppongi 3K has beat the current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Gorillas of Destiny. Where do we think this is going, guys?
Oh, it's going to all the way to World Tag League. I don't know. Probably King of Pro Wrestling or Power Struggle, one of those two, I'm guessing. And
maybe even Fighting Spirit.
Oh, in
That's
America?
right, yeah.
That's a possibility.
I mean, both of those teams are pretty over in America, especially GOD. And they did have a match the last time there was in America at G1 Night 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. I was excited to see Shonyo pick up another win by roll-up. And, that sort of stuff is just hilarious. And then to see like Tamatonga and Tangaloa like get their heat back and lay these guys out time and time again.
Yeah, post-match, they got the kendo stick out and wore these boys out.
Do you know what that makes me think? You know what really makes me think? It makes me think Sho and Yo are beating them for the titles. Because here's the thing. If Sho and Yo were just going to lose in the upcoming title challenge, wouldn't you want them to look really strong going into that title challenge? So you have them like roll them up and then get out of the ring and escape. And so that it's like creating this sense of doubt in your mind. Instead, Tamatonga and Tangaloa are getting rolled up and it's a fluke and it's like it shouldn't be happening. And then they're leaving these guys laying. Sho and Yo they're about to put the straps on Sho and Yo. That's what's happening. I'm telling you. Yeah. They're about to be the IWGP Heavyweight Champions,
which I would love.
I would love it.
And
I would too.
Yeah.
And I think it's time. They need it. I think that's why they're going to do it. I think they're winning the belts.
And it's very interesting because we do have the Super Junior Tag League coming up with the Road to Power Struggle Tour, and then the World Tag League will be following that. So are we going to get Roppongi 3K pulling some Ospreay and being in both tournaments?
Maybe. Or what if they're like, we need to focus on the heavyweight division, and they're like, we're not going to be in the tournament.
There's hardly any teams as it is. I don't think they're going to miss the Super Junior.
You're probably right, but I can dream.
Yeah,
a boy can dream.
A boy can dream.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they go there.
I'm actually very curious, bro. I'm very curious about both tag leagues. Like, I think they have enough juniors to have a pretty compelling junior tag league. Although I don't want it to be a tag league. I liked it better when it was a single elimination. I don't want to have another block tournament. But then when I start thinking about World Tag League, I kind of get excited because most of the teams from last year are gone, like the majority of them. So it means like we're getting a fresh World Tag League, and that's an exciting proposition.
Mikey Nichols and Juice Robinson.
Oh God, why you guys say?
Damn it, Samson.
We brought you onto this show.
We welcomed you into our dojo.
You into the dojo.
Sorry.
I offered you water.
Oh man. But I'm hoping that we get Roppongi 3K in both tournaments. I'm also hoping that we get Birds of Prey in both tournaments. I mean, Ospreay has been Mr. Tournament this year. He's been in every tournament. I think getting him in, Super Junior Tag League and the World Tag League would be incredible.
Yeah, I think Birds of Prey are good, but I mean, we kind of said it during the show. Josh said it. Ishii and Ospreay. I mean, they could do Birds of Prey for the Junior Tag League, and then Eagles can probably take the tour off. I mean, he's not really. He might be becoming a full-time New Japan talent, but he's still. I don't even know if he is right now. But I mean, Ishii and Ospreay. I mean, if Yoshihashi isn't teaming with Ishii and that was a one-time thing, and Yano is back with Makabe, then I mean, Ospreay and Ishii, that could be like the biggest tag team in New Japan.
And Ospreay and Ishii did have some kind of great double team moments during this match. And when I saw that, I was like, yes. Let's get it. Ospreay, Ishii, let's run it. Get them in the World Tag League.
I had a dream the other night that Will Ospreay apologized to me. And it was literally like, it wasn't until we were watching this match that I realized that never actually happened. I've been living life for about 4 or 5 days now thinking like, man, that was really cool when Will Ospreay apologized to me for the dream. He's just a good guy. Like he's just going through a hard time. No big deal. And Jeremy, you were there. You were in my dream. You introduced us. Like
I set it up.
Yeah, you set it up. You're like, you explained to him what happened. He's like, mate, I had no idea. You like apologized to me. I felt so accomplished. And then like we're watching this and I was like, oh, that was a dream.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream.
Oh man.
But what I would like is this. Will Ospreay wins the heavyweight tag titles with Ishii. And then Will Ospreay wins the junior tag titles with Ishii.
Yep.
Oh, man, I saw that coming.
Bro, he was smaller than Ishimori in this match. Can't tell me that man ain't a junior. I don't care. He about it.
Gosh.
No, but in all honesty, Birds of Prey are freaking awesome. So
Yeah, they're incredible. All right, so yeah, we had that post-match attack by GOD, kind of standing tall, getting their heat back, which brought us into the next multi-man match where we had Kazuchika Okada teaming up with his current Wrestle Kingdom challenger, Kota Ibushi, and Robbie Eagles taking on Sonata, Evil, and Bushi.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of like a broken record when it comes to LIJ multi-mans. We talk about how great the LIJ multi-mans are on these cards, and
It's better than like having to talk about WWE and be like, this wasn't good, 2 stars.
yeah, but I mean, this was a pretty solid match here. Obviously, we're kind of still previewing Sonata and Okada for King of Pro Wrestling, and then there was also kind of implications there with Ibushi, who's currently going to be challenging Okada, and then also Ibushi and Evil will be facing off for the contract. The match hasn't been made official yet, but Evil did challenge Ibushi last weekend. I'm assuming it's going to happen at King of Pro Wrestling. They're kind of loading that card up there, so a lot of story elements here in this matchup.
How did you guys feel about Ibushi not coming out with a renovated briefcase like we expected, and instead just literally carrying a contract in an envelope?
I mean, he probably should have just left it in the back. It wasn't on the line. He had no reason. I mean, no one forgot he won the G1. I mean, he just defended the briefcase, well, the envelope or whatever, just last weekend. So, I mean, he doesn't need to bring it out until they get him a new briefcase, or if they even are going to get him a new briefcase, he's just going to walk around with a black folder in his hand for the next 3 months. So I don't know. Walk into the Tokyo Dome with a folder.
It's an opportunity, pal.
Maybe
A briefcase is something you carry stuff in. It's a title opportunity.
Maybe he had a special, like, custom one that's getting made, didn't get it in time, and
That'd be cool.
yeah, it's like, man, I guess I got to stunt with my contract. So
I think if they really want to focus on the character development of Ibushi, then they should like focus on how like he's forgetful, and then like he loses the contract, and because he actually physically loses the contract, he can't defend it. Because he can't defend it, he can't cash in on it. Meaning, the entire like Tokyo Dome like title defense is up in flux. The G1 means nothing. This is literally something I could see happening in WWE. This is like literally something that could happen. And I think we need to westernize.
I was say it sounds like some Vince Russo crap.
Yeah, it's not even WWE stuff. It's like Vince Russo, like circa 2000.
Yeah,
WCW.
yeah. But yeah, this was a pretty good match here. Came down to Sonata and Eagles to the end, where Sonata, he gets that skull and does a big swing, and we had the first botch from Okada in a long time. He was trying to hit a drop kick as Sonata was swinging around and completely missed.
That was weird.
Yeah. Then quickly recovered and hit the drop kick, but then Sonata was eventually able to get the skull end back on and submitted Eagles.
Now, here's the one interesting thing with that. Later at the post-match, Okada kept trying to drop kick him, and he kept missing, and Sonata kept moving out of the way. I don't know, was this actually a botch, or was this the planned outcome? Are they improvising, and are they going to incorporate that into their future title match? Like, Sonata has studied him, and he's going to avoid those drop kicks because it's one of the most effective offensive weapons that Okada has? Or are they just playing off a botch? Like, are they literally just like, oh, we better cover this up?
I don't know. I mean, these guys are so talented that if it was a botch and they probably were like, let's utilize on it, like they probably called it in the ring. Like,
that's what we do on this show. Every time we botch, we just call it.
Yeah. And so, maybe they're like, maybe Sonata was like, continue to drop kick me or something. I don't know, called it somehow, and they did that. Or maybe it was kind of the story, like the drop kick is going to be something that Sonata continues to evade, and maybe that was the whole story element that we think was a botch.
Yeah, I mean, even if it wasn't a botch, Okada's good enough that he can make it look like one, because that's just how good he is. But,
right.
I mean, I think it was probably just a bit of improvisation. I mean, it was kind of funny when Okada just straight up whiffed on the drop kick. I mean, why would he even attempt that? Like, he was in the middle of the swing. He could have got hit with Eagles. He could have got smashed right in the knees or something. I don't know.
There was something I saw, like, Eagles is really good at, like, because he does that Ron Fuller special, and so he has a lot of, like, offense that's based on attacking the knees. He did, like, a 619 to the outside turnbuckle to somebody's leg, and that was really freaking cool.
Dude, Robbie Eagle is so much better as babyface. Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been great since the turn.
Just like me.
So Sonata gets a skull in here. So like we mentioned post-match, Okada was kind of throwing the drop kicks to Sonata, and Sonata kept missing. They had their face off, and then you had Evil and Ibushi facing off, and Evil like smacks Ibushi in the face. I thought we were going to get Murder Kota. Kota chops him in the chest. They kind of chop each other and kind of get in each other's face. So they're heating things up for both of these big matches right here.
I know King of Pro Wrestling is some ways off. I know it is, but this just... We're on the topic. I think we should talk about it. I'm going to put out my opinion. I personally am not excited for Evil versus Ibushi or Sonata versus Okada. And here's my reasoning. You guys can tell me what your opinions are, but this is my reasoning. First off, I'm not as big of a fan of these two guys from LIJ as other people are. I know that they're immensely popular, and there are things I like about them, and so I'm not burying them whatsoever. But if they're going to be pushed to the forefront, I think in some people's minds, they're probably thinking like, man, King Pro Wrestling's a big show. They're getting these big title opportunities. They're being pushed. Like, this is a really good thing for them. And on the one hand, it probably is. But from like a predictability standpoint, and also the fact that we've already seen these matches, and in the case of Sonata and Okada multiple times this year, it's too predictable for me to actually sink my teeth into it. And I know that the matches leading up to the Tokyo Dome are usually pretty predictable, but I do like to see something that's a little more compelling. With Okada and Evil, I would almost rather they got their title shots at like Dantaku and like Destruction, where like maybe you think that, or even like earlier show like
New Beginning,
or even like one of the big ones. Like, what's the one in April?
Sakura Genesis.
Like Sakura Genesis. Like something that you're like, oh, that title change could happen. But like here at King Pro Wrestling, like we know it's not going to happen. So it's kind of hard for me to really get excited for it.
What do you think, Samson?
Yeah, I'm not... Honestly, the King of Pro Wrestling card is just a whole bunch of rematches at this point. I mean, we've seen every match announced so far before, but yeah, Okada and Sonata, they've had two 60-minute matches and a 30-minute match, and I thought the G1 match was by far the best one. I mean, because of the playing off the shorter time limit, and I honestly don't even remember anything that happened in the New Japan Cup match or the title match, because their match from last year, the title match, I thought that was a great match.
That's the one that I liked the best, was the New Beginning match from last year.
Yeah, me too, but I think it's kind of weird that they have this streak broken of Okada beating Sonata. Sonata finally beats Okada, and then they just have him lose to him right away again. I mean, I don't know. But at least this year, the main event of King of Pro Wrestling was announced like 2 months in advance instead of a week in advance. I mean, it's one of the biggest shows of the year, so.
Oh, yeah, they had the triple threat last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, with Kenny, Ibushi, and Cody. Yeah.
So, I mean, Jeremy, do you feel the same way as us, or are you going to be the voice of reason and tell us why this is awesome? Because I know you can see it both ways.
I mean, here's the thing, like, obviously, I know that Evil is not getting no contract from Bushi, and Sonata is not going into the biggest Tokyo Dome show in modern history as the IWGP champion. So I know Okada is winning that match. So on that side, it's like, yeah, it's kind of anticlimactic. Even all these great interactions, I already know, I'm pretty sure who's going to win. But at the same time, I think both matches are going to be really good. And like you mentioned, I mean, we're used to this now. Wrestle Kingdom season, we know that the Dome matches are kind of locked in, and we just kind of have to get through this time of the year. So I'm not like down on it, but at the same time, I'm not like super hyped for King of Pro Wrestling. I mean, out of what's been announced, I'm more looking forward to Ospreay and ELP and Moxley and Juice Robinson
too. So are you saying I'm being a spoiled little bitch? Basically, is that what you're saying?
I mean, I didn't quite say that.
Let me ask you, what would you prefer? Would you prefer them to give us a big money match that we maybe haven't seen before in the lead up here, knowing that even still that the champion's probably going to retain? So, or would you rather them give us a match like this where it's happened before, we know the outcome, but these guys are just popular enough to probably pull in big enough tickets, and it elevates them just a bit? Like, what would you prefer? What do you think's better? Do you think they're making the right decision here, probably from a business standpoint?
Yeah, I think from a business standpoint, they're making the right decision. Sonata's popularity has just continued to soar this year. He's super over. The matches with Okada have been great, and I think we're going to get another great match here. I know it's a little early for predictions, but I think this match is going to a 60-minute draw. And I think that kind of keeps Sonata alive as a credible.
You never do that either. Yeah. You never like give away your prediction this early, so you feel really confident.
Yeah, I want to get it out there now because I know there might be some other podcasts, other reporters that try and take claim to that. But I think it's going to be a 60-minute draw.
I can hear Dave Meltzer. They might go. They might. Yeah. They might go 60 minutes. Yeah, that's probably what they're going to do. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, from a storytelling standpoint, it makes more sense to do a draw because, I mean, Sonata just finally overcame Okada, and they're running it back, and Sonata's not going to walk away with the belt. But a draw, on paper, sounds good, but I don't think I want to watch Sonata and Okada wrestle for 60 minutes. I mean, I'm not going to say I love Okada. I think he's the best wrestler in the world right now, hands down. But him and Sonata's matches, especially the New Japan Cup and the Dontaku defense, I mean, they follow a formula, and I think they're the most generic of Okada's title defenses in the last 3 years, honestly.
Well, if I had the book, I wouldn't do either of those things. You know what I would do?
Disqualification.
No. It's still, but these two guys are still wrestling, but you know what finish I'd book?
DQ.
Either that or
count out.
Double count out. We got to protect our stars.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
You said you've been watching 80s New Japan. I don't know what 80s New Japan you've been watching. Mine has lots of double countouts.
Yeah, I watched those. You recommended the UWF versus New Japan eliminations.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? Those matches are good. I think Chris Bryan is a little higher on them than I am. I love those matches. Oh, man, that's
and they're
awesome.
kind of a more different change of pace than the elimination matches they do today, because while you can be eliminated by pinfall and submission, pretty much all of the eliminations come from over the top ropes.
Yes.
And this was like a big main event style match on a big show. These eliminations they do these days are just road twos.
I like the 83 gauntlet match between Choshu's Army and Inoki's Army. It's my favorite 80s New Japan match. It's freaking awesome. Anyways, so let's move on. Let's talk about the two big matches.
Yes, we move on to the semi-main event. We had Hiroki Goto taking on Shingo Takagi. Rematch from the G1 where Shingo defeated Goto. And these guys went out here and had another great hard-hitting match.
I just want to apologize for all the Goto fans out there. I probably offended you guys last week. I said the G in Goto stands for geek, and I was wrong.
What do you think about this match, Samson?
The G for Goto stands for great.
I thought it was about on the level of their match from Final Night of B Block. It was a hard-hitting match. I mean, I'm not going to... normally repeating spots in successive matches is kind of a bad thing, but when they repeated that pumping bomber with the flip out on Goto, that was... I mean, it was just as great to watch for the second time. I mean, it was incredible. And I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, man. Shingo was killing Goto with those lariats and that pumping bomber, man, turning Goto inside out, and just some of the other chops and suplexes that Shingo was delivering. Well, he was taking it to Goto.
I didn't think this match was as good as the one they had during the G1, but I thought it was one of the best G1 matches of the tournament. So it's high marks. But man, I was still really high on this. I don't know, 4.25 maybe.
Yeah, I'm like 4.25. I believe I gave
really great.
I think I gave the G1 match 4.5. I think
this was good, man.
Yeah, this was really good, hard hitting stuff.
My favorite part of the match was when they started hitting each other with successive lariats, like standing lariats. They're just standing there and just freaking like whacking the shit out of each other with their arms, and they just kept doing it, like boom, boom, and like I was like, oh my god, that was one of the most violent spots. Even though I didn't think this was the best match of the year or anything like that, I think that's one of my favorite spots of the year. They were just killing each other.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this match a lot, and I thought it was going to be the match of the tour, and I think it may have been.
Yeah, I think so. think it might.
Well, I think you liked that Birds of Prey and
yeah, Birds of Prey versus ELP Nishimori.
this might have been my favorite match of the tour. Honestly, like I dug the crap out of it.
But as far as singles matches, yeah.
For singles, absolutely. It was.
Yeah, this is like a classic never openweight championship style of match.
Yeah, definitely. And
Carl Gotch's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting. Shingo caught Goto with a rope-assisted GTR. And
that was cool.
And that's kind of been built up in the multi-man last week. Shingo did hit a regular GTR on Goto and said that he was going to do a better GTR to Goto. So that was kind of a part of the story going into this match. Like we mentioned, the pumping bomber, that was such a great near fall. I kind of bit on that one.
And I was sitting there when it was happening. I was like, pumping bomber. And then he did it, and it was excellent.
Yeah, then you had Goto busting out the Shouten Kai, which was his old finisher for a great near fall. Shingo busting out the Made in Japan for another great near fall. And then these guys, just a lot of great counters. Goto hits Ushigoroshi for a near fall. And then he kind of hits that Ushigoroshi into a GTR and then picks him up.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then he hit the GTR, the regular GTR, and got the win.
I don't have anything else to add to this. You said it. This is great.
Yeah.
Goto wins. Shingo loses. I feel bad for the Shingo fans, but Shingo has nothing to be ashamed of. This was a fantastic match. Goto looks revitalized, and yeah, man, this is great.
Yeah, Shingo won enough matches this year. I mean, at least in the best of Super Juniors and all that. So,
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't hurt him at all to lose here. I mean, he has only just, in the kayfabe of New Japan, I mean, he has competed in heavyweight divisions in other promotions like All Japan Pro Wrestling. But he's on new territory in the heavyweight division in New Japan. I mean, the top promotion in Japan, the elite, the top of the heavyweight competitors. So, I mean.
The elite.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Which elite?
Not the all elite.
Here's two things I want to say. Number one, you're absolutely wrong when you say this loss doesn't hurt him. All losses hurt. What do you mean a loss doesn't hurt?
Wins and losses
Wins
matter.
and losses matter.
Of course, yeah.
Number two, Samson has become our go-to All Japan guy. So,
yo, if there's anybody out there listening that wants to do a All Japan podcast with Samson, like, hit us up.
He's ready.
Let's get this started, man.
Let's get this going.
We need some All Japan coverage on the network.
He wants to talk about Zeus for half an hour. Trust me.
Honestly, Zeus is actually great. I mean, Zeus is actually really good. Honestly.
Zeus is good.
Yeah, Zeus is actually. I mean, Zeus would fit in pretty good in New Japan too. But I mean, the majority of the All Japan wrestlers seem like a fit for New Japan, but I wouldn't bring them over. I mean, All Japan isn't doing the best as it is. So
about to talk about Suwama and
Suwama's getting kind of up there.
Talk about Bodyguard.
He doesn't even wrestle that much in All Japan no more. He's more of a freelancer. So
Let's get it going.
Yeah, man. Let's get this keeping it all
Joe
Japan.
Doring.
I mean, Joe Doring.
This is great.
Yep.
But yeah, so a great matchup here, and clearly with Goto had to get the win here based on kind of the story direction they were going for future matches, which we'll get to in a bit.
Stories.
What story?
You guys keep talking about these stories. All I've seen is wrestling. Wrestling doesn't have stories.
Right, there was no 20-minute promo segments in during the show.
Backstage skits.
My favorite part was when Jay White came out and did the cutting edge right before his match with Tetsuya Naito.
We didn't have Harold May coming out and belittling the top bay faces.
Making an impromptu tag team main event. All
Right.
that stuff.
Nobody went one-on-one with The Undertaker. So I don't know. We didn't have the best in the world. Shane
Suga
McMahon.
Bayashi came out and fired Michael Craven right on the air.
Oh my gosh.
Good shit.
It's good shit, pal.
So let's talk about this main event,
Yes.
which I was not as excited, but I'm going to kick it off to Samson because these are your two favorite wrestlers.
Right, so we had the
in New Japan.
the IC Championship match. Tetsuya Naito defending against Switchblade Jay White.
Yeah, I thought this was a great match, but on paper, I didn't have high hopes. I mean, I don't really honestly get super hyped in terms of the matches quality or whatever, but yeah, this was a great match with some great spots and a out of nowhere finish. Jay keeps proving to be one of the best reverse wrestlers in all of the world. I mean, his finishing sequences are great, and he keeps catching people with that Blade Runner out of nowhere from high fly flows and rainmakers and Oz cutters, and nearly he got him with the blade, the Destino from the G1. I mean, eventually he's gonna be picking people up out of midair or springboards on the floor. I mean, he's gonna be catching people with Blade Runners every which way. I mean, but yeah, this match was great. Went nearly 30 minutes, which didn't feel that long, and Jay and Naito keep trying to make each other smile, and as Jay said in the post-match, Naito was not smiling after he got his face planted into the mat at the end there.
Yeah, interesting thing going into this match. So Naito has been undefeated in singles matches in this building going into this match, 5-0, 2-0 in title matches. So it seemed like things were kind of in Naito's favor. And like you mentioned, a lot of this build, this match was both of them trying to make each other smile. So there's a lot of that going on in this match. And match kind of started off kind of slow with both of them kind of playing into their characters and a lot of powdering, Naito kind of stalling towards the beginning, and a lot of, kind of back and forth with the taunting, and then kind of picked up towards the middle and towards the end.
Well, this was somewhat of a crossroad match, just to kind of even give a little bit of background here. Naito losing the G1 in the B block finals to Jay White in what many people consider to be somewhat of an upset. But as we discussed off the air, we talked about how, aside from Okada, who's more protected in New Japan than Jay White? I mean, their top, Gaijin heel. He's the top heel in the company. And, Jeremy, you said it last week that, when it comes to a guy, in a top spot like this who promises he's going to win, you don't bet against him anymore.
Right. Like I said last week, you never bet against Jay White in big match situations, and that's why last week when we did our predictions, I went with Jay White.
I did too.
And it was funny, we were watching the pre-match promo, and it came on with my destino, his destino is my destino, and he gave that look in the camera. I was like, he's winning.
And with Jay White being the guy that spoiled Tetsuya Naito, who, we've talked about his trials, his tribulations, going back over 2 years. And then if you really want to count back, I mean, you can go back to the Stardust Genius days and him winning his first G1. I mean, this is when people question long-term storytelling in New Japan, they obviously don't know what they're talking about, because this is literally long-term, multi-year storytelling at the top level. They're not falling into this. This is something that Gato is crafting over the entire course of a person's career. This is the kind of stuff that you wish story modes in wrestling games were actually made out of, but they can't even fathom how great this is. And Naito's at this crossroads where we've wondered, what's he doing with this white belt? What's he doing with his career? When is he going to get to the top of that mountain? And he's got this insurmountable guy in front of him, this surging heel. And, the mind games of Tetsuya Naito, the tranquilo, the chillness, he couldn't get under this guy. He couldn't beat him. And, skills pay the bills. And Jay White has the skills to catch anybody on any given night. Tetsuya Naito was taking him too lightly, and he got caught. He got laid out. Even though Jay White, he had some interference, this was clean. And this is the second time he's beaten this guy clean.
Yeah, there was minimal interference from Gato. There was a couple distractions, and then there was one point where Gato hit Naito with a chair while Jay pulled the referee down, and then hit the Kiwi Crusher. But, I mean, pretty much after that...
That was a beautiful Kiwi Crusher.
Yeah, and then pretty much after that, it was... I mean, there wasn't that much interference. It was just Jay, like you mentioned, Samson, being one of the best counter wrestlers there is today, and just doing that.
Yeah, I mean, excluding the G1, because everyone takes a loss in the G1. It doesn't matter who it is in 2019, but Jay has only been pinned or submitted one time the entire year in any match. That's less than Okada. That's less than everybody except for Shingo. But, I mean, Shingo was a junior most of the year. So, I mean... Yeah, Jay is, I don't know how they're going to I mean, he's got to be a babyface at some point in his career, because I mean, he was a great babyface as a young lion. I mean, he completely revamped his moveset when he became a heel, came back as the Switchblade. He used to be doing drop kicks off the top.
Yeah, he was doing, space flying tiger drops, dives, planchas, shooting stars.
Bro, in 3 years when this guy goes babyface, people are not going to be ready for it.
Yeah,
they don't know, like, the people that only know him as Switchblade, they have no idea what to expect. Like,
yeah. I mean, Jay, he's going to be. I think he's one of the. He's an amazing heel. I mean, people talk about him leaving the arena like it's go away heat, but those aren't the New Japan fans. I mean, that love all the New Japan guys. Those are the diehard Naito fans that pay to see Naito that are leaving, and the ones that you see all over the internet, on Twitter, on Reddit, all that. But the New Japan fans that pay to see the entire show, see Okada, see Jay, see Tanahashi. They stay, they clap, because at the end of the day, they appreciate the heel work that Jay does. He is the heel that New Japan has needed in a long time. Suzuki doesn't get that heat. Naito, I mean, when he first came back as the Ingo Panoply, he was a big heel, getting booed, especially when he won the title.
Oh, when he tossed that title?
Oh, yeah. Well, people were getting mad.
Bro, they were pissed.
Yeah, so...
well, Kenta's been getting that heat.
Yeah, Kenta's been doing good too, but I think that is not as... I mean, that's more of a go-away heat than it is for Jay, definitely. I mean, there is real heel heat for him too, obviously. But yeah, people that say Jay just has go-away heat, they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, the fans appreciate it.
A lot of that's Western fans.
Yeah, people understand. He is a great pro wrestler. He's a great heel. And he is I feel like in a few years, when people are going to come to appreciate him a lot more than they do now.
Yeah. And like I said, I felt like the match started off kind of slow, but definitely picked up towards the end, especially that kind of last countering sequence there where the Destinos countered, the Blade Runners countered into a Dragon Suplex from Naito, and then they keep countering until Jay White just catches him with the Blade Runner. And we've been seeing, man, the Blade Runner is like one of the best finishes in New Japan.
It's one of the most protected that's out there.
If you're getting hit with that, it's over. 1, 2, 3.
And there was a few things. So this match, I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a good match. I actually, you know what? I think I liked it better than their G1 match, but I was not blown away by the match, personally.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away either, but I still thought it kind of got the job
It got the job done. And you know what? I thought it was a fitting main event. I liked it a lot more than I liked the Bushi and Kenta match from earlier, or Ibushi and Kenta match from this tour.
Same here.
But we're, the fact that we're able to sit here and talk about the character development, the long-term storytelling, and the future implications leads me to believe that, we're not sitting here complaining about, the delivery of the catch-as-catch acumen between these guys. I did think, Samson, you mentioned earlier when we were off air how you thought Jay White has some of the best finishing sequences of anybody. I did disagree with you a little bit because I still think that the best guy out there when it comes to that is Okada. But you talked about how Jay can catch you from anywhere, and that's absolutely true. I thought they were a little bit sloppy at the end, but ultimately Jay caught Naito. When he caught him, it was like a cold chill went over us because we knew.
I knew it was it. Yeah.
We're like, oh God, he got him. I know we predicted it, but we just weren't really sure. But then it happened, and we're like, damn, Naito lost again.
So that's what I was thinking just now. Some of the signs are pointing to a maybe potential another match between these two down the line, considering this double title scenario people have been throwing around. So maybe is that the time where someone kicks out of the Blade Runner for the first time, or would Naito, or would they save that for Jay versus Okada is going to be a major feud coming in the coming years in New Japan, the top heel versus the ace of the company. So it could be Okada, but I think if they're going with that feel good moment with Naito getting both the belts, maybe he's the one.
And maybe Naito doesn't get any of the belts, and he just goes off. We keep anticipating this Naito. Here's one thing. So when we were in the car, we were driving back from a delicious dinner that we had tonight, by the way. But we had an awesome dinner, and then we were talking about Naito and Jay White, and I did say, it's you know what? If they wrestle again, that's fine. But this match was protected for years. They finally gave it to us during the B Block final, and as great as the story was, I was not blown away with that match. I know you guys might have enjoyed it a little bit more than me. I think I was a little more down on it. I like this match a bit more, but I'm not overly excited to see Naito and Jay White wrestle again. And I think the question we had was, is it that they just don't have good chemistry, or is it that Naito might be breaking down and he's not getting the job done this year or delivering on any? Where are the great Naito matches this year that you can point to? I can think of like 2 or 3.
Like some of the Ibushi matches.
Shingo.
Okay, yeah, the Ibushi and the Shingo matches are immediately would come to mind. But what else?
I mean, the Jericho match was not even a real pro wrestling match. It was a lot.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I liked that match.
Yeah, I liked it too, but it wasn't like pro wrestling. It was a lot of outside and stuff like that.
Walk and brawl kind of style.
Yeah, I mean.
But there was a lot of matches this year that like either delivered lower than you anticipated. Like a lot of those, like I'm just thinking, what like even the Ishii match was lower than it was before. These matches, the matches with Taichi, a lot of his G1 matches, the Mox match.
Yeah, I mean, we said in the G1 that we felt like Naito was kind of one of the underperformers of the tournament, and we hear all the time people talking about how bad shape this guy is, how bad his knees are. I mean, since I've been watching New Japan, this man's knees have always been taped up. So, I don't know what the situation is there, or like you said, is it a chemistry situation, or is it Naito is breaking down?
If you had to guess, do you think it's one or the other? Or you think it's a little bit of both, or do you think they're just holding back for a bigger match? I mean, what do you think it is?
I don't know. Go ahead, Samson.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I think it's kind of a bit of both, because if you look at some of the best, most highly regarded Jay White matches, the one versus Juice for the US, the IWGP Heavy with Okada, the G1 Final, he loses those matches. Those are like probably the 3 of his highly most regarded matches. And when he wins, like versus Tanahashi or versus Naito, it's a dead silence in the air of the crowd. I mean, it's meant to disappoint you. That's what I would like to believe, and it might be true. Hopefully, I hope it is, but Naito is getting up there in age, so, I mean, and maybe they just don't have good chemistry, but I hope the first thing I said, I mean, that could be the case.
Yeah, I kind of feel sometimes with these two, there's more emphasis on kind of their character work, especially in this feud. There's been a lot of that whole Tranquilo thing, and both of them trying to get on each other's nerves kind of thing. So I don't know if they're kind of playing up to that too much here, or what the deal is. But I kind of agree with you, Samson. I do think it's kind of a mix of both of the chemistry and also some of Naito maybe kind of breaking down. But it's going to be interesting to see, going into Wrestle Kingdom, everybody has their fingers crossed or, saying their Hail Marys and our fathers, hoping that Naito's going to walk out on January 5th with 2 titles. And we're going to see, is this guy going to be able to perform at a Tokyo Dome level?
Ultimately, regardless of all that, there's one really important factor that just remains the same. This guy is loved. They span to the crowd. There's flags everywhere. There's banners. There's teddy bears. There's towels. There's women crying. I mean, there's people. People love Tetsuya Naito over there. And I mean, we talk about the Road Warriors pop. What about the Tetsuya Naito pop? Time and time again, I think he gets the biggest pops consistently all throughout the year. So I mean, there's still that to take into consideration. I know we got some questions about I think there's one last big topic to talk about when it comes to this match, and I know we got some questions, kind of concerning it.
Yeah, so first let's talk about the post-match. So post-match, Jay cuts one of his best promos ever.
We were rolling, bro.
Yeah, he was making fun of, the Buenos noches and talking Spanish. He does the, because, normally Naito does the LIJ roll call. He did the Bullet Club roll call, which obviously was way longer than the LIJ roll call. Literally called out every single member, including Gino Gambino.
He called out Juicy. He called out Peter.
Yeah.
He called out Hikuleo.
Everybody.
I was waiting for him to call out, like, Bone Soldier, Cody Hall.
Called out everybody and just kind of mocking Naito, his promo. And
he's like, EJ.
Yeah.
He's like, Bullet Club.
For life.
Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's one of my favorite post-match promos he's ever done.
Yeah,
when he did that, people were like, they were booing and walking out. It was hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, where y'all going? Where you going? But he continued to mock Naito and LIJ until we have Hiroki Goto arriving, making his way down to the ring, and of course,
jump zone.
Yeah,
run it.
Jay was frustrated. He was like, no, you're not stealing my spotlight. And then Goto just comes in, drills him down and gets on the mic and says he's coming for Jay and that IC title.
Yeah, that was great, and smart way for them to like kind of send the fans home happy. You leave Goto standing tall. I really liked the post-match press conference in the back that Jay started talking about Goto, and he's like, just because you come out here and you jump me doesn't mean you jump to the front of the line. Like, he's like, I've got a winning record over you. It doesn't matter if you beat me in the G1. Like, jump to the back of the line. There's a bunch of other people ahead of you. So, like, kind of just like under. And then he's like, you think you get a title opportunity? You've had more title opportunities than like you deserve, and you keep losing. So no, you're not getting a title shot, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, that was funny, and just the whole Jay White Goto kind of feud. So it'll be interesting to see when that match is going to take place. And like you said, Young Boy, we do have a lot of questions on here. While we were talking, a bunch of questions coming in from Reddit, so we'll get
to chill.
We'll get to all these. So first, Howard Chilling from the Wrestling Squared Circle, he says, it seemed like they're really pushing the concept of a double champion. Do you think they pull the trigger at Wrestle Kingdom? And is it Ibushi or White that does it?
I think he's talking about the IWGP. I don't know that he's referring to. Is it that they from TNA? that Abyss was talking about? Or is he referring to the International Wrestling Grand Prix?
I think he's just talking about the fact with, Naito mentioning about wanting to be double champion, Jay White mentioning he wants to be double champion, Saber's now mentioning he wants to be double champion. It's like everybody's kind of coming out of the woodworks. Yeah, Tanahashi. Everybody's saying they want to be double champion. So clearly this is a current story direction. So it's not just something that people are making up now. And I think that from right now, I feel like Ibushi, I think he's going to lose to Okada on night one, and I think it makes most sense right now for it to end up being Okada and Naito on night two, and Naito wins it all. I don't know how they're going to quite get there from here, but that's what I feel is the right direction. What do you think, Samson?
I mean, last year Jericho main evented with the IC belt with Evil, so that's probably where Goto and Jay will most likely happen. King of Pro Wrestling is already a stacked card, and they're not going to run it back at Fighting Spirit so quickly, obviously. And Naito had a match at Power Struggle last year against Zack Sabre, a special singles match, which normally kind of work like number one contenders, and then he later in the night came out, attacked Jericho, and challenged for the belt. So maybe they do Naito and maybe Zack Sabre again because he's one of the guys, or maybe even Tanahashi. Naito can, I don't know, win the match. Jay can defeat Goto. Then there's the Intercontinental Championship match for the Tokyo Dome night one.
My whole thing with this is basically, and you mentioned this off the air, Samson, you said before this match, you were like, Jay winning makes the most sense because if Naito wins, then you have to kind of like reestablish someone for him to defend the belt against at Wrestle Kingdom. That almost doesn't make sense. Like, but if Jay wins, now you've got Naito to go after something. And obviously with Jay being one of their top stars, it makes sense that he would be in that mix. And how is he going to get in that mix if he doesn't win this belt? So yeah, that was good foresight on your part. My thinking, and I said this on the air a few weeks ago, I was like, with Naito, I thought he might lose to Jay White because I was like, we talked extensively how I thought he was winning the G1. It made the most sense. But then he lost, and it was like, we were like, they're done with this guy because this whole concept of a double, champion and a mini tournament really hadn't come to the forefront yet. Now that it's here, it's like, well, it's got to be Naito, right? Bro, it might not be. It might not be.
Yeah.
That would be a bad move.
It probably would be a bad move, but it might not. There are some people who don't think that at all. They think it needs to be Ibushi, and like they feel very confident that that's the case. And there's people who are disagreeing with you, literally saying, nah, like on the air right now. They're like, no, he's wrong. But I agree with you. I think it needs to be Naito, and I feel like this is the best way you could possibly do it. If you're going to go with Naito, and you've made him lose all these big matches. Yeah, he wins a lot. Yeah, he's in main events. Yeah, he's pushed as a top guy. But in a lot of big moments over the last 2 years, he's lost big time in big matches, in big moments when they really counted. And how do you redeem this guy? What kind of great story can you tell better than taking him to his lowest point and then bringing him through that tournament, and then he bests all the top guys, and he ends up standing at the end of the night with 2 titles, and that's his big moment, and that's how he get there. I'm all for that, and I think that that's a great story. But Gato likes to book heartbreaks, bro.
Yeah.
He likes to book heartbreaks.
But there's been enough heartbreak.
Yeah.
Bro, that's how I feel about my life.
Yeah.
There's been enough heartbreak. It's time for a change. What about me?
As you said, like, I think it makes more sense if Naito walks into the Tokyo Dome with the Intercontinental belt. He has something to lose. When you have Naito walking in with nothing to lose, potentially wrestling 2 nights, I mean, it provides a far greater story. Underdog Naito. He's been at some the lowest moments of his career in terms of losses in the last 2 years. So, I mean, having him come in with absolutely nothing and leaving with everything. When Ibushi comes in with the G1 win in the contract, Jay comes in with the Intercontinental, Okada comes in with the IWGP Heavyweight. Naito, he doesn't have nothing. He comes in as the guy everyone wants to win, but the guy that might not even win. People will be doubting that because of this loss to Jay. I mean, Jay White is a hard man to pass in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring. So, I mean, I think it makes more sense to have it end up like this.
Yeah.
One thing I got to say, I'm not convinced that it's going to be just the 4 of them. I know not everyone agrees with this, but I think the fact that they've got other people starting to bring it up, like Tanahashi, like Saber, leads me to think that what if hypothetically, and I'm just throwing this out there, and there's been rumors that it's not just my idea, like I didn't formulate this, there are other people who are speculating, it might be like an 8-man 2-night tournament. So where you end up with like 4 matches that are tournament related on night 1, and then 3 who, on night 2, basically the semifinals, and then the final and the main event with the double titles. That's something I could actually see happening, and they've got enough big names for that to really make a lot of sense and to really fill both of those cards in a promising way. And I'm not convinced they don't end up doing that.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening, and I'd be down for that.
I kind of like that idea because I'm almost a little bit like not as into it if it's just, well, here's 2 problems. One, we already got Ibushi and Okada this year. We already got multiple times Naito and Jay White. And so if we're just getting rehashed of those so that we can build to Naito and Okada with no real build-up between them, that's a little underwhelming for me. The other problem is exactly what I just mentioned. Okada and Naito is the most protected match in all of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So you're just going to give it away with no actual build. I'm actually not in favor of this tournament unless they start hinting at it on the road to, or even like after King of Pro Wrestling, they need to start hinting towards it and start like building to it. Even if it's not like official, it needs to be in the background and in the minds and the hearts of fans. Otherwise, why do it? Because it's your most protected match. It's your biggest money match that they've had. They haven't done it in 2 years. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I have, if Naito is like the only logical winner of this whole tournament, I mean, excluding Tanahashi, who brought it back years back, he's the first one to start this whole idea of the double champion. So I think if Naito ended up having to wrestle 3 matches, I mean, as you said here, he's got, I mean, Tanahashi definitely probably won't be able to do that, but 3 matches in less than like 24 hours or just over, I mean, that's going to be tough on Naito. I mean, and he's expected to have a championship run, and as you know, Naito, he does all the tours. Fantastica Mania, Best of the Super Juniors, tours where he's not needed. So how's he supposed to wrestle 3 high-caliber Tokyo Dome main event level matches and then turn around and be fit to defend in the belt and do these multi-mans on Fantastica Mania and all that?
Yeah, I feel like once he wins the belt, they might change up his tour schedule. But I think, going forward, if they kind of, book him, I'm sure he'll be in a lot of multi-mans building up to the Dome. You protect him in multi-mans, I think they can get him to the Dome in a healthy situation, and I think he can pull it out and have the matches and then go on to have his title run.
But you don't think if they do, because New Japan main events, like this one, they're like normally 30-minute affairs. You don't think he's going to have 90 minutes of matches if this does end up like an 8-man tournament, right?
No, I think some of the early tournament matches might lean towards more of the 15 to 20-minute range.
Yeah. And
then the final match, him and Okada will probably be like a 30-minute or more.
Yeah.
So next question comes from @Chris Samsa on Twitter. And definitely check out his site, sportofprowrestling.com. Chris, you've probably heard his name now on New Japan Podcast. Kevin Kelly has been mentioning a lot of his work and the stats that he pulls. Chris does an excellent job of kind of pulling these statistics for New Japan, AEW, and he has a great website where he pulls up all these statistics on match wins and history and stuff like that. So check him out at the Chris Samson on Twitter, sportofprowrestling.com. So his question is, all signs are pointing towards NJPW ending up with a double champion at the end of Wrestle Kingdom. Do you think the title holder defends both titles individually going forward, relinquishes the IC, or they stay unified for some period of time?
Well, I'll just say this. I think that there's a chance that they might. I mean, they could do any of those, really. You know what I mean? They realistically could do either of those. My main thing is this. The IC belt is the second most prestigious championship, maybe excluding, like, the junior title that they have. And I don't think it makes a lot of sense to me to, like, either unify it or handicap it by not having it defended on other shows. I would rather them get rid of, like, the US belt or even, you know, God forbid, the Never belt. Unless we're talking about them unifying the IC belt into this title and then elevating one like, say, the Never belt, because you kind of need that secondary title to headline minor shows and to elevate, you know, rising stars. And the IC belt is great at that, and it does a good job. So I don't know why you wouldn't keep it separate, because they have too many titles in New Japan. They definitely do. But the IC title is not one of the ones that's a problem.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of rich history with that IC title. And I think it would be interesting going into next year having a guy with both belts, and then you could do a show where, hey, the champ has to defend the title twice in one night.
I wouldn't like that.
I mean, either. I think,
not in New Japan specifically. That's just some people might like it, but that's not my taste.
Yeah, I think... I mean, Naito doesn't... I mean, the moment himself of him walking out with 2 belts at the Tokyo Dome would completely solidify the title reign, no matter how long it lasted. I mean, the moment for him himself. I mean, but honestly, you could have him defend it as a double crown, both up until, like, let's say, Don Taku, because that's a 2-night show. So maybe night 1 on May 3rd, he defends the Intercontinental. Night 2... May 4th, he defends the heavyweight, and that's how you could maybe split them back up again. You can have him successfully defend one, lose the other, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you really could go the All Japan route, and you could make it part of
the Triple Crown.
A double or triple crown, and then you could elevate another title. The only problem is, the big difference there is, like, when you talk about the Triple Crown titles, the history that was behind those 3 belts was so deep and so vast that they eclipse anything from the IC belt. As great as the IC title is, it's not. No. It's not anywhere near those 3 belts that comprise the Triple Crown. So I don't know about that. But if you want my bet, if I was betting tomorrow, let's say it is Naito that wins it. I think Naito would win. I think the next day he'd have a press conference, and I think he would relinquish the IC belt. I think he would do it in a respectful way. I don't think he would, like, trash it. Mm-hmm. I think he would say, you know, me and this belt had a tumultuous relationship. It's now time to cut ties. Thank you for getting me to this point. And they would probably have some sort of tournament or some sort of decider for that title. And I think he would have an IWGP title reign. That's what I think would probably happen, personally.
Yeah, that sounds probably the most likely.
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Sounds exactly like what Naito would probably do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably just pretending to like that IC belt because he can't get near the heavyweight belt.
Well, isn't that what we all do when we have a girl?
Oh, man. So moving on. Next question from Reddit user Life is a Dragon. It says, a little belated, but why does Jay White get so much heat from American crowds? Sure, he gets booed plenty in Japan, but I was at the Super J Cup final, and I couldn't hear most of his promo because he had to shout it over the crowd. Then he sends the link for the match that's on New Japan World from the Super J Cup.
Play it for us. No, I'm just playing.
I actually did watch that promo and match. I mean, they was chanting, please don't talk. Every time he put the mic near his mouth, they was booing like crazy. I mean,
that sounds crazy because you would imagine that particular crowd would have to be like what? Like a traveling crowd, like diehard New Japan fans. Although I'll say this. when they were, some of the chants I heard that particular crowd at Walter Pyramid chanting were not things that you would typically hear from like a New Japan crowd. Like, they were being really disrespectful, even to the heels. They were like, you know, telling them to like fuck off and like, you know, other things I probably shouldn't say on this show. And I was kind of surprised by that. And I was like, this might just be like a really smarky indie crowd and not like a New Japan crowd. But yeah, I don't know. People don't like Jay White though. That is true. They really don't.
Yeah, he says, given Japan's history of evil foreigner archetypes and the stateside popularity of Bullet Club, I'm a little surprised at how much American fans love piling on this dude. Are we just suckers for cheap heat?
Well, let's be clear. The Bullet Club that's popular is not this Bullet Club.
Right.
This is not the Bullet Club that people love. The Bullet Club that people love
was
for better or
Kenny
for worse,
Omega.
They're wrestling in Tony Khan's wrestling promotion.
Young Bucks,
and
Cody.
a lot of them are wrestling in Vince McMahon's wrestling promotion.
I mean, GOD is, I mean, they were a part of all, pretty much. I mean, Tama Tonga part of all iterations of the Bullet Club. I mean,
I agree, but when you're talking about the people that were buying those T-shirts,
the Western,
the Western
that wasn't
fans,
GOD T-shirts.
Yeah, they're not here for the Camacho shirts. They're here. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's funny.
They're Young Bucks
in
fans.
front of the show. Dan Coffin, you know, we were over at his house. What was that? Last month for what pay per view we were watching?
We were watching G1 and we were watching NXT.
Yeah, we got to take over. Yeah,
we don't watch another wrestling. Right? We watch good wrestling.
Yeah, so we were watching New Japan. He was like, you know, I keep hearing about how popular the Bullet Club was, but it doesn't look like the same. Like, who are these guys? Like, it doesn't look like a top faction to me.
Now, let's be clear. I like the current iteration of the Bullet Club, but it's not, you know, they don't have the star power that they had a few years ago, and that is a fact. But regardless, I think that there is a clear distinction between the Bullet Club that fans in the West seem to get behind and the one that they have here. I do think that the people that are like that hate Jay White, I'm sorry to say it, but y'all some simple marks. If y'all really hate this guy that much, you guys are getting worked a little bit. You just are.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people, even people within Social Suplex, who have hated on Jay White and have not been a big fan of him. And here's the thing, man, like, this guy generates heat. He is a great wrestler. I know that's kind of been the big complaint, like, oh, he's not New Japan quality. Like, he's a good wrestler, but he does not match the main event quality of an Okada or Tanahashi or that. But when I see Jay White in these big main events, in my eyes, he's the one that delivers and has good matches.
I agree.
I mean, you look at this Naito match, I feel like Jay...
Maybe we're the symbol marks because we like this guy.
No, I don't think we are, man.
I don't know.
Me either, though.
Yeah. I mean, you look at those Okada match, that Wrestle Kingdom match. I know a lot of people are like, that wasn't a good match.
He had some really good G1 matches this year too. I know a lot of people did, but like I liked a lot of his G1 matches a lot.
And dude, that G1 final for Bushi.
Yeah, that might be my match of the year. And it might be the best match of his career.
That was incredible.
It was incredible. It really was incredible. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just, fans, he's not what they're used to. He's a douchebag. He gets mad heat, so...
Listen, I peed next to him in New York when we were at the Social Suplex party, and he was a lovely gentleman.
Yeah, he was there, had some wings, very, very respectable.
And then I was like, do you want to be on the podcast? And he was like, fuck off. And I was like, all right. Why does this keep happening to me?
Oh, man. So, next question from Reddit user Rambone Slam Pig. He says, is it just me, or has there been a noticeable trend of 0 successful title defense runs in New Japan all year long? Is this typical or a little out of the norm? Also, why does Gato hate Naito?
What about Okada? What about GOD?
Yeah, those guys have had some...
Juice.
Did Juice have any successful talent?
He's done
he defended against Trent Beretta,
That's right.
Beretta, Chase Owens.
All those matches I didn't see.
I did watch that Trench Beretta match, and it was kind of bad. But
that was on those USA shows. I never saw any of those.
I mean, the fans were actually considering they got the short end of the stick when it comes to the visa issues. I mean, they was respectful and they was into the match. I mean, it wasn't a bad match, but Juice has had better matches.
No, but he's right. I think that there has been a high trend of title reigns with unsuccessful title defenses, but them's be the breaks.
I mean, especially with the way New Japan titles are defended, it's not like in other promotions where you have a weekly TV show and you can do title defenses on TV every week or a set monthly pay-per-view. So it's a little bit different when title defenses aren't back-to-back or kind of spread out. It's easier. It's almost like the UFC in a way where
it is.
Jeremy, you hit it right on the nail.
A guy could win the belt in a fight, and then the next defense, his first defense, he could lose it.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
And this is like a sport. This is more sports-based product. It's almost like you treat it like a shoot. It's like
I know about this company over in America that keeps saying that they want to have a sports-based product, but they got dinosaurs and shit. I don't know. All I know is this company is a sports-based product. So just want to throw that out there.
And then
you ain't got to win a battle royal to get a title shot in this company.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah.
Bro, it's gonna be my favorite thing. I'm gonna start dumping on AEW on the air, and I'm just gonna start pointing out how they're inferior to New Japan. I'm gonna literally obliterate elite fans. They're gonna just stop listening to this podcast. Our numbers are gonna go way down.
Ladies and gentlemen, I like the elite. I am a fan of AEW. I will be watching Wednesday nights on TNT.
This is my favorite new thing. This can be my gimmick. I love this.
I mean, I'm not going to stop watching if you crap on the elite. I don't care about the elite.
Oh, man. But also he said, why does Gato hate Naito?
Well, it seems like they're about to prop him up so that he becomes a double champion. So I don't know if he does.
We'll revisit this question January 6th.
Oh my God!
Because if Naito,
if January 6th, this man does not walk out with two belts, we're gonna be like, yo, he did something terrible to this man.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how much he really hates them, depending what happens after 2 nights at the Tokyo Dome. Next question from Reddit user Zach Saber Time. It says, you guys think LIJ fans are in the fetal position right now? That match was badass. Both played their characters real well throughout the match. Also, RIP tournament season. G1, Young Lions Cup, N1, 5-star Grand Prix are all over. Can we have 10 seconds of silence for the end of tournament season?
What's he talking about? Well, he didn't mention the King of the Ring, but...
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
But I don't know what he's talking about, sir. We've got Junior Tag League.
Yeah, we got Junior Tag
League. We got the World Tag League.
Yeah.
I mean, Odo tournament All Japan is on right now. Actually, finishes tomorrow.
Nobody's going to be watching that.
One person at least. Yeah.
But yeah.
Bola.
Oh, yeah, Best of Los Angeles is happening. Or happened this weekend. It's happening right now, actually, I guess.
Our good friends Chris Bryan and Jeremy Tate are there right now.
The host of Grown Men Watch This Shit right here on the network. They're over there in Bola having themselves a good time, watching some great action there. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of disappointed LIJ fans right now. They've been told, we've been telling them here on the same show, you just be patient, your time is coming. Naito's going to get this IWGP title. Just wait for it. But, he keeps losing these big matches. It's hard to have faith when he keeps losing.
I mean, it will all work out fine for Naito in the end. Even if he just falls off the face of the earth tomorrow, he's done pretty much everything in New Japan other than the double title thing. G1 twice, the IWGP Heavy, the Never, the Junior Tag, the Heavy Tag, the IC of 4 times. So, it's not like this guy has been completely buried over the course of his career, but, these last few years, except for this feud with Jericho and the G1 was more than 2 years ago, but yeah, come January, everyone's going to be happy as a daisy concerning LIJ.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Samson. Next question from Reddit user Jar of Peanuts. What do you guys think of fans immediately thinking Naito is going to get a rematch for the IC title on January 4th and win the IWGP title the following night to become double champion? Is it plausible or delusional?
For who? For Naito?
Yeah.
I think it's likely.
Yeah, I don't
see them doing this double tournament for any other reason other than to potentially crown Naito, unless Gato's like, we're all in 2020 and he's in 2030, and like he's just that far in the future. We just don't. We're just simple marks. We don't know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But like the way I see it, the way I've seen it all for the past 2 years is that they've been building to this feud between Naito and Okada.
I mean, is it even a feud if they're not even booked in the match until a day before the match? And is it even really a feud?
Yeah, because it's a generational feud that's been going back for 6 years.
I mean, it's one chapter in a ongoing feud, but it's not an entire... I mean, you can't even really call it a chapter. I mean, well, you can, I guess. But
I'll call it a chapter. Yeah. I will brave the elements and call it a chapter, sir.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens. Does he get an IC title match before Wrestle Kingdom, or do they wait until this tournament is established? But I definitely do think there's a chance for Naito to walk out with both championships.
I think they should do the 8-man thing. Naito should not get in a title shot on the first night. He should have to win a match. Then on the second night, he has to beat both Jay White and Okada.
That would be great storytelling. I like that.
There's people who don't like that. There are probably literally people right now. They're like, didn't Chris Jericho do that in 2001? Hell yes, he did.
I mean,
and look where he is now.
It's kind of weird. I mean, Naito in kayfabe, he's like the Dark Ace. He's not this overpowered.
Isn't he the Dark Ace? I always consider him the Dark Ace.
I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. I said he is the Dark Ace, yeah. But he's the Dark Ace. Like, he's not the Ace. He's not. I mean, he's not up to par with Okada in kayfabe. Like, he's just not as good as Okada. He's when he beat him for the belt, he literally debuted Sonata, used all of LIJ just to beat him. I mean, Naito isn't. I mean, he's more of a babyface now, so I'm sure the match will end up differently. But it would kind of it would be hard to suspend your disbelief to have Naito, old man Naito. Well, he's not that old, but I mean, his knees are kind of showing their age. But have him beat not only Jay White, one of the most protected wrestlers, and then Okada in the same night. I mean, I mean, back-to-back nights, sure, because he gets a reprieve, a break, but back-to-back in one night.
Well, Okada would have a match before as well, so we don't know who Okada. Maybe Okada faces, I don't know, Tanahashi or Sabre, has a grueling match, so he comes into the match weekend as well.
Yeah. I think this is what they need to do. I think they need to take this moment and use it as a chance to catapult Okada again.
720-day Intercontinental Champion Okada.
Oh my gosh, man. So next question comes from @TheDampImplicat on Twitter. Our buddy The Implications over at LOP Radio. He says, is Jay White making it to January with that IC title? AKA, I'm still holding out hope. It's Naito's year, damn it.
Yes.
What do you think, young boy?
What's the question again?
He says, is Jay White making it to January with the IC title?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is.
I mean, are they really going to have Goto in one of the semi-mains or possible main of the Tokyo Dome?
Nah. I think Goto's going to eat a swift Blade Runner, whether it be King of Pro Wrestling or Power Struggle.
Yep.
Next question comes from...
but I do want to say this.
Yeah.
I would like for Jay White, for his title defenses to be against the 3 guys that he lost to during the G1. Yano, Ishii, Goto.
How are you going to have 3 defenses between now and the Tokyo Dome?
Fuck it.
Always.
Well, there's also the November California shows.
Yeah, but that's literally right after Power Struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why are you questioning everything I say on this show?
It's just logic. I mean.
I'm just trying to be creative, throw hope out there. Shit, I understand.
So next question.
I wish Senior Sombrero won this tournament. I wish Gentlemanly Dragon was the winner.
Dude, what happened to Gentlemanly Dragon?
Gentlemanly Dragon, we miss you. I wish ACP was here. I'm just playing. This is great.
Oh, man. So next question comes from our buddy Scott Rand on Twitter. He says, coming out of today's finals of the Destruction Tour, what are some of the matchups you think we might see on next weekend's tour of the Northeast?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of, Chase Owens says he wants to fight the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, outside of that, I'm not quite sure what they're going to kind of lay out. I mean, everything else I've been kind of building is for King of Pro Wrestling. So
It's probably just going to be a Road 2 show, honestly. Maybe the IWGP tag match with Roppongi 3K. Like, I don't know. There's no other belt matches they could really do, is there?
I mean, they could do a Never Championship match. I think Kenta is going to be on that tour.
Yeah, maybe.
Listen, listeners, if you're going to be at those shows, don't listen to these guys. These shows are important. You're going to be blown away.
Major Tokyo Dome implications.
Major implications. The Rock and Roll Express they're going to deliver. They're going to deliver.
Imagine if they were in the tag league.
It might need to be.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, Scott. I'm just not 100% sure what.
We don't know because they haven't announced anything. We just don't know what to expect.
And especially because a lot of the angles, normally we can kind of predict based off angles, but all the angles have been leading towards King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
So these Fighting Spirit shows are kind of like a road bump in between King of Pro Wrestling. So I'm not sure what. I'm not sure what they're going to do for that show. Well, I think that wraps up all the questions that I got in during this recording here.
Thank you guys for all the questions.
Yeah, thank you for the quick turnaround. We normally try to give you guys a day or so to get questions in, but we had our G1 winner here, Samson, drive down here, spend the day with us. We want to get this show recorded tonight on Sunday instead of Monday. So thank you guys.
What are we going to do with our Monday?
I don't know. I guess might have to watch Vince McMahon's Sports
Pro Wrestling.
No, that's Vince McMahon's Sport Entertainment.
Yep.
Yo, I watched that Wednesday night show. It was pretty good.
Yes. Wednesday.
And my favorite part was when Tony Khan's promotion aired a commercial in the middle of their show. It was so freaking
great.
funny.
Wait, did they actually do that?
Yes,
Oh,
they
they
did.
did,
Yes, It was awesome.
Oh my God! Not since the days of Bret Hart.
Yeah, they did used to do that back with Raw and Nitro, didn't they? Air commercials.
I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got one question flying in last second here, coming from Maserati. He says, "What the fuck, Umino? We believed in you." Man, yeah. I think
That's not a question. Well, I guess it is technically.
Yeah. A lot of people believed in Umino, but just couldn't get the job done. Mm-hmm. He couldn't cut the mustard, as some would say.
If Red Shoes was the ref, he would have run. He would have won the match.
I'm pretty sure Umino took his ball and went home.
All right, so that wraps up the questions and the review for Destruction and Kobe. Now we're going to jump into the news and then the recommended match of the week. So first, kind of big news.
Who's doing the recommended match of the week? Am I doing it?
It's your turn, sir.
I'm doing the recommended match of the week?
Yes.
I thought I did it last week.
Didn't I do...
Ishii versus Naito.
Yeah, Ishii versus Naito was my pick last week. So it's your turn for the pick, unless you want to let Samson make the pick. What are you feeling?
Samson, you got a recommended match?
I could think of one. Yeah, I think I got.
I usually like to really put a lot of thought into it, so I can pour my heart and soul into it. I've got one. If Samson doesn't have one, I got one, but I'll defer to you.
All right, so we'll go through the news, and then both of you guys can think of your matches.
Radio. This is great.
So first, kind of big news item: the Fighting Spirit Unleashed show that's happening in New York this coming up weekend will be airing live on New Japan World. It will be Japanese commentary only, though. So I think it's great that they are actually going to air one of these shows live and not be a video on demand like we had with the Super J Cup. But it is quite interesting that it's only Japanese commentary.
Kevin Kelly needs a break, man.
Well, they got some other English guys on the docket.
Do they? We haven't heard from Mavs Gillis in a long time. We haven't heard from a lot of these guys in a long time.
They got Rocky.
Caprice.
Yeah.
Caprice. I think Caprice works for a company that they're quietly
separating from.
Do you really think they are separating? Because I don't know. I think they're just...
As somebody who's gone through many a breakup, I can tell you they definitely are. I can tell you that this is definitely what is happening.
I mean...
The telltale signs are there.
Yeah, well, it's going to be very interesting to see what the relationship between Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling looks like going forward.
Or lack thereof.
Especially coming into WrestleMania season pretty soon here in our home city of Tampa, Florida. It's going to be quite interesting to see what happens.
Even if they're quote-unquote together, it doesn't seem very loving. They don't show affection. They're not telling each other they care about each other anymore.
No.
They stop holding hands.
They stop holding hands. Seems like they don't seem to be staying over at each other's place very much anymore. Like I'm pretty sure these are the dying days.
So next news item here, there's an written interview on NJPW1972.com with Jon Moxley, the current IWGP US champion. Had a nice little interview there. One interesting quote, and a lot of people have been kind of asking, what is Jon Moxley's future and will he be at Wrestle Kingdom? And this quote came from the interview. He said, 100% I plan at being at the Tokyo Dome. I don't know who I'll be facing, whether I'm still U.S. champion, but I've been in WrestleMania, in the G1, and this is the next step. Anyone in Japan has competed in the Tokyo Dome, so I absolutely plan on being there. And that's another name that could be in this mini tournament situation.
Maybe they make the U.S. belt defended in there too. I don't know.
I mean, hypothetically, if you do an 8-man and you're talking about big names being in it, I mean, the two outsider big names that could, hypothetically, I mean, Moxley and, Moxley as well as Jericho. And then, of course, you're going to have your crazy conspiracy theorists who are like, what about Kenny? What about Kenny?
Yeah.
I don't think they would waste him on that, but that's, those are all, I guess, fringe possibilities.
Yeah. So next, we had tickets going on sale this past Wednesday, September 18th for the New Japan Showdown in the Globe Theater that's happening on Veterans Day. Also, for the Philadelphia show this weekend, Fighting Spirit Unleashed, some additional standing room only tickets are now available. They're $30. So if you've been kind of wanting to go to that show and you missed out the first time, grab these $30 tickets, standing room only, and head out to Philadelphia for Fighting Spirit Unleashed.
Never have I wished that I still lived in Philadelphia until this moment.
Next news item here comes from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, looking at some of the financials from New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is some notes from the Bushiroad annual financial report. So New Japan grossed $50 million during the period from August 1st, 2018 to July 31st, 2019, which would be the biggest year in its history. It was up 10.8% from last year. New Japan drew 436,000 paid for live attendance during this year, which makes the 6th year in a row that live attendance has increased. Profits from New Japan were down from last year. Actual profits were not listed, but there was a category Bushiroad report for sports companies, which means New Japan and their other sports company, Kicks Road, their kickboxing company. In that category, which is dominated by New Japan, profits dropped from $7 million to $5.6 million. The difference is, with revenue being up, is that the company made more investments in visual content, all the videos, and expansion into the international markets in the US, Australia, and UK. So there's more financial notes in this past week's Wrestling Observer newsletter. But what do you guys think about these numbers here from the Bushiroad financial report?
I mean, people are going to think and like, oh, the less educated members of the New Japan or pro wrestling communities are going to think, oh, profits are down. Look what the Elite done. They messed up New Japan. New Japan is down because Kenny isn't there. I mean, just because the profits are down doesn't mean... I mean, the revenue is up. The profits are down because they just spent more money. Like I said, they invested. It's not because of they're doing worse off financially. It's because they're investing in the future, and these investments are going to pay off in next year and the year after. And they've signed more wrestlers to contracts this year, like Ibushi, Ospreay, I think. Like they've locked down some names on for their roster exclusivity. So yeah.
What are you thinking, boy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's fiscally, it's a good idea for them to, reinvest into the thing that's going to expand them internationally and worldwide, and get more eyes on their, on their product, and ultimately that's going to pay off more. I couldn't really tell you with 100% certainty what the right thing to do here is, but I mean, New Japan grossing $50 million during that period is a big deal. Whereas, obviously, and I mean, I'm not saying anything that anyone with half a brain doesn't know. I mean, profits dropping is not necessarily a good thing. So, but I mean, it sounds like they're investing in the areas of their business that seem to be important to them and important to expanding. So that long term is probably it's probably a good thing.
So let me ask you guys this. So clearly the profits are down because, with these Fighting Spirit Unleashed, the Showdown shows, Super J Cup, Super Showdown in Melbourne, Royal Quest. Do you guys think they should be spending this much money on international shows?
No,
definitely not.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. When I was speaking, I was literally referring to the video content. When it comes to the international market expansion, I'm not against it. In fact, I'm definitely for it, but I'm for it in fiscally conservative and measured ways where it makes sense to their overall expansion. For instance, these shows that they're running that don't have video behind them, that don't have TV behind them, they don't make sense. And that don't have storyline developments behind them, they really don't make a lot of sense to me. Because, I mean, and I said this the other week, it's like, what? So you run 1,000-seat auditorium, and yeah, you might draw like some people in the local market to you, but I mean, how much word of mouth growth is that going to grow you if you're throwing, not only just doing a show, but like in many cases from the reports, some of these shows are kind of mediocre. They're not the full like New Japan experience. You're not even giving, in many cases, people are not even getting the full authentic New Japan experience. So it's like, do you want to throw a shittier version of yourself out to the international market with no TV behind it, with no real video behind it, with crappy production and unhappy fans? Like, it's not a good idea. If you're going to do this, bring your A game. If you're going to do this, make sure you got TV behind it. If you're going to do it, make sure you've got like your production staff behind it, and do it in a measured way. Like, they don't have to run all these shows. I'd much rather them like lock down a TV deal, lock down a distribution deal, and give us the New Japan product that we are used to getting so that they can grow this thing. It's not a good look.
Yeah, man, I absolutely agree with you. I think, we talked about it last week, how the Super J Cup, rollout was kind of one of the biggest blunders of the year. And, if you want to do these international shows, fine. But if you don't have the resources to have these things aired live or reasonably quickly with high quality production, then I don't think it's worth doing. I think pick your spots, come over to the States and kind of highlight situations, go over to the UK and highlight situations, and pace them out. And we're seeing we got this Northeast tour this weekend. Then in later in November, there's 2 shows in California. So we don't know what the plans are for airing those. And they're only airing one of the shows this weekend. So it just makes you think, like, why do all this if nobody's going to see it in real time, especially in today's wrestling climate when there's so much wrestling to watch and there's so many different options. You got to be, current. So that kind of wraps up all the New Japan news. There is one other news item which contains to Jushin Thunder Liger. He had his last match with 0-1 on September 18th in Sato before 658 fans. He teamed with former New Japan stars Otani and Takakawa to beat Daichi Hashimoto and Kazuki Hashimoto and Sean Gunnis. So that wraps up the news for this week. And now it's time for the recommended match of the week. So do you guys have your recommended matches ready?
It better be good.
Wait, you want me to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, since it's a Destruction in Kobe, I think I'll go back 3 years back to Destruction in Kobe. The first time Tetsuya Naito won the Intercontinental Championship versus Michael Elgin. This was one of my favorite. I think the three matches. Naito
It's so much better than what I was gonna.
Like, I think Naito and Elgin. I think those were some really good matches. Especially this was not their best match. The match they had at New Beginning.
The New Beginning match. That was their best match.
That was their best match. But this is a significant match in the story of Naito. I mean, he first won the IC belt, and this does call back to the times when Naito was way more of a heel than a babyface. I mean, ref bumps, LIJ fighting everyone in the ring. I mean, even
and when he wrestled better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tanahashi and Kushida came down to fight off Evil and Bushi and Sanada. But yeah, Naito won the white belt for the first time and threw it up in the air, and just like he did the heavyweight earlier in the year. And just like Jay White, Naito won the IWGP Heavy and the Intercontinental both in the same year. So
great pick there.
Fantastic pick. Much better than what I was going to do.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. More relevant, more appropriate. This was great.
Well, that's going to wrap things up for this week. Samson, thanks so much for, being a loyal listener of the show, entering all our contests, always sending in questions every week, and then making the drive to come over here to the dojo and be a part of the show this week, man. Really appreciate it.
And taking the Neo Geo from our lovely home.
Yeah, I mean, the pleasure's mine. I mean, I'd just like to say thank you to you both, Josh and Jeremy, and because you guys provide, for all the loyal listeners every week, like me and many others, provide us great insight, great opinions, laughs. I mean, you guys give us all we could want from the Ace of podcasts every Tuesday morning. So, I mean, thank you. I mean, the pleasure is mine.
I do want to say this. Last week, we recorded a show, and I listened to it back, and it was fine. But when we were recording it, for whatever reason, I was tired. I was not having a good week. I was straight up not having a good time, yo.
But it felt like
it didn't feel right.
It felt like we had a 3-star match.
Yeah, it felt like
we were in the main event of a big show, and we put out a 3-star match.
It felt like I was in Wyoming, and I was like, or like where's Tacoma. I was like wrestling in Tacoma, and like the agents were telling me to do some bullshit out there.
Told you to work a hold.
Told me to work a hold. I was like, fuck.
I mean, wasn't Amazing Red versus Ospreay in Tacoma? That was a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about Vince McMahon's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I left that show not feeling too energized, not too excited. But this was a really good show. This Destruction Kobe, and we had a really good time like recapping it here with you, Samson. And I dug this show. I'm digging it.
Yeah, and so, keep your eyes out for whenever our next contest is going to be.
I'm going to win it, trust me.
Oh, man. So, yeah.
I'll be back.
You guys have to kind of try to knock Samson off. We might do maybe a Super Junior contest, tag league, maybe a World Tag League, maybe.
Triple Crown.
Some All Japan, yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. And also, guys, get ready because our end of the year voting, our 3rd annual Keeping It Strong Style year-end awards are right around the corner.
Our 100th episode is right around the corner.
Our 100th episode is right around the corner as well. This episode you're listening to is episode 95.
Jeez.
So in 5 weeks.
This is the longest, healthiest, most fruitful relationship I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, so episode 100 is right around the corner. Our 2-year anniversary is right around the corner. Trying to work on some surprises for you guys. Won't tip my hand just yet, just in case none of it, comes true. But trying to pull something big for either of those shows. So stay tuned to that. Stay tuned for contests. Stay tuned for the year-end voting that will be coming out in about a month's time as we wrap things up with October and November. So, once again, that's going to do it. Next week, we'll be back to preview the New Japan Road and to review the Fighting Spirit Unleashed show that's happening in New York. Make sure you connect with us.
New Japan Road?
It's a show that's airing 2 weeks, not this week, but the following week on New Japan World.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so make sure.
Sounds like a light week. Might need to recap that Naito and Elgin match.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Based off, we'll have a full show of Fighting Spirit Unleashed from New York. So that should be a full card, and then previewing New Japan Road, and you guys send in your questions, and we'll get some questions done next week as well, and we'll get ready. We'll preview New Japan Road, and we'll get ready for King of Pro Wrestling coming up soon. So make sure you connect with us on social media. I am at Jeremy L. Donovan on Twitter. The show is at KI Strong Style. You can also follow us at Social Suplex. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/Social Suplex. You can join us in the Wrestling Squared Circle group, facebook.com/group/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy. Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. Samson is Why Did You Do That, Bro? You can email me, jeremy@socialsuplex.com. Make sure you check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. On Sundays, we have One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show from Scotland. Every other Wednesday, we have our podcast dedicated to independent wrestling, Grown Men Watch This Shit, hosted by Jeremy Tate and Chris Bryan. On Fridays, we have Get in the Ring with Danny and Beast Mike. And on Saturday, we have All Things Elite with Floyd Johnson Jr., Amy O, and Tiffany. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. We will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.